Stuff ready?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, I'm Curry Master, and we have Aussie here doing the restreaming and gonna be chilling on commentary as well. And this is gonna be
Yeah.
Fire Emblem Radiant Dawn.
Yeah. I figured I'd hang around, restream, maybe ask stupid questions about a game that I'm not all that familiar with, honestly.
Yeah, no, that's
But
fine. It's easy to overlook stuff.
it wouldn't be that big of a problem if the uh this and Path of Radiance were a bit more accessible.
Oh, I just deleted my all gross file. Crap.
What?
No, I was deleting a save file to prepare safety saves for the run, but I deleted my casual all girls playthrough. No. Rest in peace, 20 speed Micaiah. Oh well, it's not the end of the world.
No. Just the end of that one.
Okay, so the category I'll be running is normal mode. Normal mode. Normal mode and easy mode are actually pretty significantly different. Like a lot of enemy differences, route changes, goal differences and such. So the route's actually pretty significantly different between easy and normal. And I'm gonna be running this with transfers. What that means is that in Path of Radiance, you can transfer a completed save file over to Radiant Dawn, and gives characters stat boosts, which I can get into more detail about that later. But basically, it makes the run much more consistent overall with not having to hit like almost like unreliable stat thresholds and stuff. So yeah. Without further ado, if you have the timer ready, I can give a countdown.
Oh, that's right, I forgot to reset it, because unfortunately the crop key and my split timer key is the same button. There we go. Timer's ready.
That happens. Alright. 3, 2, 1, Magoo.
Magoo.
Alright, so this game is kind of interesting in that, unique in that it's split into different parts. And you control different armies between the parts. So part 1 is basically using Micaiah's team, which we use a good chunk of units that aren't in Path of Radiance, although a few from Path of Radiance will return in his team. I forgot a certain option. Okay, so our main lord is Micaiah. She is a mage, and she is very slow and unfortunately not very useful in the speedrun. She only gets like a kill here and there because you don't have other real options. But this run can very much die right on this turn, because Edward can die. Edward is our Myrmidon. He's fast enough to double attack everything, and he has Wrath, which is a returning skill from Path of Radiance. It's a bit nerfed, because instead of 50 HP, now you have to be around like 30% HP or lower to get a 50% crit bonus. But it's still really useful, in this chapter at least. So, this game does not have a fixed growth mode. What we're looking for in Edward is +1 strength that lets him kill the boss in 4 hits, as opposed to 5. Which what that means is that he can kill the boss with 1 crit and 1 non-crit attack, which is what we want to look for. Okay, so we're going to heal up Edward. He got the point of strength, which is going to be useful. We really want the boss to hit Edward. And then heal with our herb, which only heals 10 HP. So what that means is that when the boss hits Edward again, hopefully, Edward will be in Wrath HP and then just finish off the boss. But unfortunately, he did not get the 50% crit, so I need to just heal up again. Hit. Yeah, he's fine. Alright.
I wish I could get Myrmidons that for 2 straight levels got strength.
Yeah, Edward's offensive growths are actually very good. Like, I think his strength, skill, speed are all like 60% or higher, which is pretty good.
That's ridiculously good.
Yeah, I mean, growths in this game are just generally a lot higher than past games. And of course, he has a tendency to not get strength anyways in speedruns. It's kind of interesting, because in easy mode, Edward actually needs to gain like 2 points of strength, because he's just more important in easy mode, so like the first 2 or 3 chapters are less reliable in easy mode than normal difficulty. It's funny how that works out. But yeah, this chapter, your goal is to escape, which is the same thing as in Path of Radiance. You need your main lord to get to the escape tiles. In easy mode, your goal is to kill the boss, which makes this chapter significantly different between easy and normal difficulty, and there's quite a few different chapter goals throughout part 1 between easy and normal difficulty. I talk about easy mode a lot because easy mode is like the most commonly ran speedrun, just because it's like consistent. And normal mode is relatively undeveloped.
Oh boy, we love variable runs here at this marathon,
Yeah.
don't we?
So we got 2 units, Leonardo and Nolan. Leonardo is a bow user, he kind of sucks. Nolan he's not fast, but he's very tanky at this point in the game, and does a lot of damage in one hit, so he's actually quite useful. So I'm going to be visiting this village here, house, to get a hand axe, which Nolan will use later on in the run. This game also introduces battle saves, which lets you save in the middle of the chapter, which is a massive lifesaver for marathons, because if something disastrous happens, you can just load up the battle save again. And if Leo or Nolan either miss on the boss, not boss, but the enemy on the yellow tile, then you have to just reset. Because there is no backup for it at all.
Going back on the whole transfers thing, I always found that very interesting when games do it, because the first game I ever heard about ever doing that was a game called Suikoden on the PlayStation 1. And that even did it to where Suikoden 1 would transfer to Suikoden 2, and then Suikoden 2 could transfer over to Suikoden 3, which was a PS2 game. All just very cool stuff, and I'm really excited when games do that sort of thing.
Ooh, this game?
I'm surprised. I'm just surprised that no other Fire Emblem has attempted to replicate that again since this thing.
Oh, we got Soth. He is what we call the Joggin of the game, except he's not on a horse, he's a thief instead, which is a really bad class in this game actually, but because Soth's stats are so good, he just kills everything anyways, and it's pretty much immune to dying, at least in early game. So he's going to be carrying the early game, part 1, quite heavily. And the goal of this chapter is to get Lara to the blue tile. In easy mode is actually a bit slower in this chapter because the easy mode goal is to route, which is to kill every unit on the map. So again, a pretty significant chapter change there. And no one's just kind of tanking here because you kind of want to avoid killing enemy units in the game if you can help it, because each enemy death costs around 2 seconds. So it adds up if you kill like 5 extra units on the map. So this next chapter, we get Ileana, who is a returning character from Path of Radiance. She's offensively pretty strong, especially because she got a lot of stat bonuses from transfers. So she's gonna be pretty useful through this chapter and the next chapter. Unfortunately, since she uses Thunder, it is the least accurate magic in the game after Dark Magic, and her hit rates are not very reliable. So
I heard they basically butchered Thunder Magic in this game.
For good reason, because it's so OP in Path of Radiance. But yeah, it's like, if Ileana misses almost anything in this chapter, that's a reset. So, right after I say that, I almost forgot to battle save. So, don't miss, 73 hit. There's no backup for that, you just have to reset.
Oh, there we go. That's reset number 1.
Reset number 1, just like that.
I am expecting at least 5 more resets.
I'd be pretty disappointed if I got 5 resets, because the run overall is pretty consistent.
Yeah, but it's a marathon run.
Right after I say that! Ileana misses 73 twice in a row.
See, I've got high expectation that the game is delivering.
Yeah, marathon luck. Oh man. So 73 displayed hit rate is actually 85% chance of hitting. So she landed a double 15% chance of missing in a row. This speed game. Ileana has to land 4 more thunders in a row, by the way.
You run the best games sometimes.
Well, fortunately, I mean, there's a Myrmidon that sometimes usually attacks her, and if she misses him once, that's actually not that bad, because you can use Leonardo to help finish him off, and you're fine if Leonardo hits. If he hits, the backup strat for that is not reliable, but it is better than no backup strat, I guess. The Myrmidon can attack Ileana. This is the first time I've seen him attack Soth in a long time, actually, which is actually a really good thing, because if the Myrmidon attacks Ileana, she usually gets hit, and I have to heal her, which costs a good chunk of time. But I don't have to, so... Oh, battle save again. Because if she misses this fighter, that's reset. So the goal of this chapter is to escape, which is basically a siege chapter at the bottom of the map. We kind of did an interesting little rescue chain and shove train around the forest tiles, because you suffer some movement penalties when you try to go through a forest tile, but you can just shove someone through it instead to kind of skip those movement penalties. So that's just how we're able to get
people everywhere.
Yeah. But it's how we got Micaiah up this far really quickly, and now we're gonna shove her 2 more times to get her within range of the yellow tile.
I had a friend who called her Mickey Sue.
Mickey Sue. I kind of agree with that. That's all I'll say, because I don't want to start anything controversial. Because people have strong opinions about that.
I know.
People have very strong opinions about that, so...
No, I don't, but I have a friend who does, and he has no problem with letting me know.
Oh, so we recruited Meg. She is notorious for being one of the worst units in the game, for good reason, because she has terrible base stats and growths that don't really help her much. But we actually recruited her because we want to take off the fortune skill off of her and sell her fortune skill for money.
You know, to be fair, I actually really like it when Fire Emblem games have characters that are considered bad.
Yeah, like it's fun to use them sometimes.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, they're
it's
bad,
more of
but
a
they're fun.
challenge, you know?
Alright, so this is a route chapter, and I'm actually moving Micaiah up to lure a boss down. This is the first chapter that introduces Lagoos. And when a Lagoos is untransformed, they can't directly attack you. Lagoos can transform when their Lagoos gauge is filled to 30 points, but the boss isn't filled yet. But he just moves up to Micaiah anyways. But yeah, there are 2 bosses in this chapter, by the way, and they're like, totally not the same bosses that are recurring in like a lot of Fire Emblem games. Look at their face, they're like everywhere.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I did not know Leo missing was possible.
Third reset, maybe?
Can Edward finish him? Yes, he can. I've never seen that happen before. That has never happened before. Fortunately, that worked out. Base Edward.
Game is proving to be very strong.
This game is already having it out for me.
Thanks. Whoa, hey, this is pretty. And you're doing a marathon run?
Yeah, let's just have everything go wrong.
Well,
So
a master seal just right there, huh?
yeah, hidden items are in this game. They're not restricted to desert chapters. The chance of finding a hidden item in this game is your skill percent, plus or minus your biorhythm bonus. And if you're a thief, you gain a plus 60% chance of finding a hidden item. In Sauce's case, assuming you haven't lost any extra turns anywhere, his chance of finding that master seal is around 90%. So although if you miss it, you don't really lose much time as long as you get it second try.
Oh, you only get one chance to find it, and then you have to reset, basically.
Unfortunately, that's not the case here. So.
Okay.
But yeah, and Ileana and Nolan, they're pretty strong right now because I've given them some pretty powerful forged weapons. And again, Sauce can kill everything because he has a really OP weapon called the Beast Killer, which is super effective on Beast Lagoos. He can pretty much one-shot most of them. But Sauce's weakness at the moment is that he cannot be everywhere at once. So we kind of need other units to help.
You say Soth?
Soth, yeah.
I would say it's Sothe.
Oh, I say Soth. It doesn't really matter, I guess. I think the actual pronunciation in the cutscenes is like Soth or whatever.
Okay, that makes also a little sense too. English is hard.
English is difficult. I can actually end this chapter a turn earlier, but I intentionally burn a turn intentionally to make sure Ileana has time to grab that Seraph robe. Because that robe will be very important later on. And losing a turn in this chapter is not a big deal.
Yeah, I'm guessing you got a unit later on down the road that could really use that HP.
Yep. We're gonna use every stat booster on a unit soon, later on. Okay. This next chapter coming up is a defend chapter. In easy mode, it's actually a route chapter. So it's actually faster in easy mode, I think. So we just got a bunch of money, and we're gonna forge 3 iron knives for Soth. Iron knives are pathetically weak, but Soth's really good starting stats to make up for it, and iron knives can attack at 1-2 range. Which is really important because it lets you counterattack basically everything in the game, most things in the game, on enemy phase. I'm gonna battle save just in case, because there's a chance that Jill will just commit suicide in this chapter, like an idiot.
Leroy! But Jill.
Yeah. So there are 3 units that are green units at the top. Jill, Toronio, and Zyhark. They're all units returning from Path of Radiance, and they're all actually pretty good in terms of their stats. But you don't control them yet, and if any of them die, off Jill, then it's game over. And Jill's AI is pretty stupid. It's not uncommon for her to just go out and suicide or just not heal. So I'm gonna battle save just for that safety. Volok can die in this map if he gets hit by literally every enemy unit on turn 1. But fortunately I have a backup strat to make that like pretty much not possible. Unrealistic.
Well, I'm here, and this is a marathon, so Jill, feel free to, be stupid.
It looks dangerous that Volok is attacking this Fire Mage, because Fire Mage will kill him in 1 hit, but Volok always one-shots the Fire Mage, so it's safe. But yeah, we're kind of treating this as like a route chapter, at least at the start, because there's a good chunk of units at the bottom that move no matter what, so you're better off just killing them off. But eventually I'm gonna block off the ledge so that as few units as possible move on the last few turns, as I just spam end turn.
Right, it's better to just kill off a good chunk of enemies, just to remove their movement turn animation. Yeah, I could see where that would add up after a while.
But yeah, we did get Volok. He has an interesting skill called Half Shift that he starts with, which normally with Lagoos, they have to have a full Lagoos gauge to transform, but in Volok's case, he's always transformed. The problem is, normally when you transform, most of your stats are doubled between untransformed and transformed Lagoos, but in Volok's case, it's only times 1.5, so his stats are weaker than if he were actually transformed without Half Shift. But in the speedrun case, Half Shift is just really useful, just having someone who starts off transformed. Because he has 9 move, and his offensive stats are good enough to kill what he needs to early on.
9 movement is pretty darn good for an early game.
Most Lagoos and mounted units have 9 move, I think. Tibarn, who is Hawk Royal, we actually use him at the endgame. He has 10 move. So,
damn.
It's really fun if you give him the boots and celerity, which gives him +4 move bonus to have a 14 move bird. It's really fun. Unfortunately, we don't do that in the speedrun.
Darn, Jill's not being stupid, what?
Yeah, I think we're gonna be fine. But yeah, ledges are kind of a new mechanic in this game that I wish they brought back in other Fire Emblem games, because basically, if you attack from the higher part of the ledge, you gain a plus 50% hit bonus, and it's opposite is true if you're attacking from below. But you can also kind of just block ledges, because you can't attack anything from or to a ledge with a one-range attack. And so because of that, these enemies are just kind of blocked off and can't do anything. So it works out very nicely here. Alright, Jill didn't do something stupid. Yay.
I wonder what... there could be a multitude of reasons why they didn't bring something like that back. I always thought when they were working on something like Awakening, they were really trying to make it one of the most accessible Fire Emblem games out there. So they were kind of just making it bare in terms of essential strats you can come up with for a Fire Emblem game.
We just got Jill. She needs to get a point of skill, by the way. Speed, sorry.
Yeah.
Oops.
I don't know. It's in a way you can consider like the ledge climbing thing to be one of this game's identities, you know?
Yeah, you could say that. And it works out nicely, because this game actually, you can kind of tell they tried to design the game to make sure that mounted units aren't so OP. Because, like, units on a horse cannot actually go up a ledge. They just can't, period. So, it's actually interesting how that balances out. Unfortunately, that doesn't really do much for flying units. Flying mounted units. Oops, wait. But yeah, so I spent the space pretty much putting all of my resources into Jill, because she's going to be carrying the rest of the run for this team, pretty much. Because she's a Wyvern
There's a
Knight.
person inside me that it wants to throttle you for wasting a Master Seal on a level 16 unit.
Level 16 is still pretty good, to be honest. Like, it's not that low.
But it's not level 20. You're
It's not
losing
level
stats.
20. she should almost cap everything anyways. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, on the other hand, Wyvern Riders are really OP in this game, like, especially since they aren't weak to bows in this game for whatever reason. The only weakness is Thunder Magic. They're not. They're only weak to Thunder Magic.
Got nerfed hard.
Yeah, and there aren't even that many units that use Thunder Magic, so it's like, really? LOL. It's just kind of amusing how that works out.
Have fun with Jill and Heart, I guess.
Yeah. Jill's kind of like one of those interesting units for people to talk about, just because she's like one of those units is really worth putting all your resources into a lot of cases, just because of the payoff you get from training her and dumping all your resources into.
That's fair. I mean, it's one of those cases as to how comfortable you are with this game, you know? Do you feel like you want to try somebody else, or do you want to stick with the tried and true Jill?
Yeah, like, you generally can't go wrong with Jill. Alright, so about this chapter itself, I didn't talk too much about that, but this is a route chapter, and we're kind of spreading out Soth, Jill, and Toronio and Zyhark to kind of kill as much as possible. Toronio and Zyhark are actually pre-promoted. This game, I think, is the only Fire Emblem game with 3 tiers of units instead of 2. So yes, Jill can promote again. She starts at the tier 1 unit, but Toronio and Zyhark are all now tier 2.
Yeah, from what I heard about this game specifically, is that they really wanted to emphasize on just the epic scale of nature of this game, so they went ahead and said, yeah, tier 3 units, they're a thing now.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you scale things correctly, there's nothing wrong with it. Did they scale things correctly?
For the most part, they did. Like, enemies get pretty strong and bulky near the end. I mean, like, in a speedrun setting, like, you won't really see that, but, yeah. Yeah, I feel like Shadows of Valentia is kind of a different story. It's not really much about tiers, per se. If that makes any sense. But it really depends on how you define it.
I have yet to play that game. I was honestly shocked that that game was even announced. I'm like, okay, the 3DS is near the end of its life cycle, but, and then suddenly frickin' 6 games get announced for, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, this is kind of interesting, but hey, I really like Chalice of Valencia. I mean, it's definitely flawed, but I still love the game.
Yeah, well, isn't it based off of an older title too?
It is based off a very old title, so like.
Yeah, I'm willing to bet a lot of the older mechanics kind of seep into that, you know.
I think the mechanics are mostly okay. Some of the map design is really bad though.
Because you could argue that some of the older stuff doesn't hold up as well as something you would see in a more modern game.
Yeah.
That's always the big risk when it comes to remakes. You risk changing too much, or you risk not changing enough.
Alright, so the goal of this chapter is to just kill the boss. And Jill needs... And from when I bonus experienced Jill earlier in the run, she needs to gain a point of speed. That's because she needs 18 strength, 19 speed to 2-hit KO and double attack the boss in this chapter. Without transfers, she needs +2 strength, +3 speed. So if you were to route this without transfers, you need to like throw Jill at a bazillion Cavaliers to train her up and hope that she gets strength and speed. And like if you don't, then that's just several minutes gone down the drain. And there's no
throwing you
backup
to
for
the
it.
wolves, Jill. Survive. Good luck.
Fortunately, Jill is guaranteed to survive, at least assuming the boss doesn't activate cancel. Oh yes, so this boss has a skill called cancel, which if he activates it, does not let me counterattack, which sucks. He has, taking into account his hit rate on Jill, his chance of both hitting Jill and activating cancel is roughly 21%. Give or take a percent, depending on Jill's speed and stuff.
Kirby, can I trust you to handle things from here for a little bit?
Yeah, go for it.
Great.
But, yeah. So hopefully he doesn't activate cancel. If he does, well, it's a time loss, but it's not worth resetting over, because you can just kill him on the 3rd turn. But if he does activate it a 2nd time in a row, then that's kind of an issue. So hopefully it doesn't happen. You kind of see here Jill's taking a bit of a beating. But she is guaranteed to survive if she gets to fight everything. At least, assuming cancel doesn't happen. And there's the boss. Okay, good. No cancel. Whew. So we want to keep an eye on getting good levels with Jill, and that was a really good level up. Like, she got strength over, like strength and defense, and she got 5 stats, which is really good. So. Okay. So we're gonna get the Brave Sword. That's gonna be used the chapter after this. Brave weapons left you attack twice per attack. Very useful. And we have this chapter. This chapter is a kind of a neat chapter. Your goal is to seize, which is to get Micaiah up to the upper right corner of the map, and you want to kind of kill these units at the bottom that are going to get in the way. South is not strong enough to kill these knights, which is kind of where his bad class kind of kicks in, because I think he's already hit a strength cap for just 22, and knives are really weak, so he just cannot 2-hit KO these knights without a crit.
So.
Hello. But it's actually not too big of a deal if a knight survives, which usually one does. So we're gonna get 3 new units on the map, and they kind of spawn in the perfect location to get Micaiah up here. So Volug the Wolf is carrying Micaiah right now. We're gonna recruit this crew here, and Tormod Morin. Tormod is a mage. He's really good at this point in the game, actually. And we also get Morim, who was in the Path of Radiance, and it is a Tiger Lagoose, very mobile, and Vika, who is also a mobile flyer, who's really weak, but she flies, so she's useful by default. So I have those 3 units positioned in such a way such that I can start getting ready to get Micaiah up to the upper right corner really quickly. Soon. So Volug is going to pass Micaiah to Vika, and then shove Vika. And then Tormod is going to attack up a ledge and kill this mage up here. Tormod's hit rate's not very good, but he has 6 chances to hit twice. And his hit rate's bad up a ledge because it's minus 50% hit rate, but he's on the winning end of the magic weapon triangle, so he actually gains plus 15 hit from that, which is really nice. So it actually works out nicely there. And there's Micaiah. And Moram also is just very offensively very useful at this part of the game. Like, even when he rejoins at the very end game, he still holds up his own. That's how good he is. Right. And yeah, most of the enemies in that chapter don't move, so it's kind of convenient. Okay, so I'm gonna be going to a conversation to get the Ashera icon to boost Jill's luck later. It doesn't sound useful, because luck is one of the least useful stats, but like, it's just useful in the long run because with how bonus experience works in this game, you always gain exactly 3 stat ups. Yeah, you always gain exactly 3 stat ups per bonus experience level, which is both good and bad, but if you abuse it correctly, it's very broken. And so what happens with that is, if you cap some stats, then you start gaining a lot of your weaker stats with bonus experience. So in Jill's case, luck is one of her better growths. So by giving her an Ashera icon to boost that, she'll hit her luck cap more quickly, which makes her gaining other stats more reliable in the long run.
Otherwise, if you level up, normally you could potentially get more than 3 stats in one level as opposed to using bonus experience level.
Yeah, so like that's a trade-off.
That's a trade-off. Yeah.
But like, if you level up Jill only by bonus experience, she actually should cap everything anyways. So like, you actually don't need more than +3 stats per level to cap everything. It is nice, but it's not strictly required.
Hey man, when I play Fire Emblem sometimes, I'd gladly take 3 guaranteed stats.
Yeah, those 3 guaranteed stats is what makes the speedrun reliable. Just having that guaranteed stat ups in the long run just makes that character consistent.
I remember the one time I've actually leveled up and I got nothing. Nothing.
I don't remember how it's... In this game, you are guaranteed to gain a stat up no matter what. Like, period. You cannot work around it unless you've capped every stat. Like, there was actually like a hack that someone did. I think it was Don Don, who was trying to do a 0% growth playthrough. 0% growth, low turn count playthrough. But that's technically impossible, because everyone gains stat no matter what, even if you set everyone's growth to 0%. So what he ended up doing was giving like a magic growth to every physical unit and a strength growth to every magic unit. So they gain only that least useful stat. I mean, there's just no way to work around it.
Interesting way to work around that.
Yeah. But like, another thing is, it's kind of interesting because in the Game Boy Advance Fire Emblems, if you get a 0 stat level up, you got so unlucky. You did not just get a 0 stat level up, you got 3 0 stat level ups in a row. That's what actually happened. Because in a GBA Fire Emblem, if you get a 0 stat level up, the game re-rolls that level up to 3 times.
That sounds... Well, you made me sound... I feel even worse now, because that's what happened to me. Bandits, huh?
Yeah, bandits.
They must have come from the Red Mountains.
Yeah, there is a bandit that survived, and he's probably gonna survive, actually, making me lose a turn, which kind of sucks because there's an extra reinforcement that spawns if you lose a turn. But oh well. It's not the end of the world. Oh no, he killed him, nice. Alright, we're good. Alright, we're almost done with part 1. Kaya's team, so just have 2 chapters left.
You're wrong, PX, you're wrong!
So we just got a lot of money and the pass skill, which we memed about the pass a lot in the Path of Radiance run, but Pass is really useful because it lets you move through enemy units, which we're going to use next chapter.
There might be a little bit of quality degradation going through from my capture to the stream. That might be the reason why it's not as good as it could look.
So this map is kind of a, hey, Black Knight, you remember him from Path of Radiance? He's on your team, so have fun.
But I killed you. I saw you die.
Well,
very, very fast, but
yeah.
you died.
You kind of have to be careful because, like, if you put Mikai in the wrong tile a single time, she's gonna get bopped and die, and her dying is kind of game over.
With the power of retconning.
So the goal is to kill the boss, but the boss doesn't spawn until you kill certain enemy units. So we're having a Black Knight kind of run around sniping enemies, and then he's gonna go back to the lower left corner where the boss is gonna spawn. Shoutouts to unequipping the Black Knight. It's faster because you avoid one kill. And remember, you can avoid killing something, you don't want to kill it.
Tink.
Right, Chapter 1E is the finale of Part 1. We're going to have a lot of base management, but I'm basically going to be doing a lot of setup for Part 3. Because Ileana is the only unit on this team that's actually going to join Ike's team later on, so what I'm going to end up doing is kind of getting ready to transfer a few things from this team to Ike's team. Because Ike's team just makes better use of it. So Nyla takes Pass, Jill takes Paragon, which doubles the experience she gains. Very useful. And this is also the last time this team can actually forge stuff, so these two forges I'm doing right now is going to carry this team through Part 3. And I'm going to use some of my remaining stat boosters on Jill here. Savior lets you rescue stuff without any penalties. Celerity increases your movement by 2. Brave Sword is going to be used by Ike later on in Part 3. So all three of those things I'm going to be transferring to Ike's team. And then I'm just going to dump everything into Jill. All of my bonus experience.
So any extra leftover items will automatically be in Ike's inventory when you switch over to him?
I mean, he has like a starting inventory, but like nothing from this team itself unless you transfer them with Ileana.
Oh, so the characters, whatever they're holding, goes with them?
Yes.
Okay.
So whatever Ileana is carrying, Ike's team will have when she joins this type team. This Jill is very good. Like she has to hit 18 strength to 1 ground KO a night, but 24 strength at this point is enough for Part 3. So this is a really good Jill. She's kind of lacking in skill, unfortunately, but I'd rather take strength over skill. So.
Yeah.
Wait, the strategy for this chapter is really cool. This chapter is a siege chapter, has a lot of ledges. And this game kind of discourages you from taking these ledge shortcuts because you have to attack up a ledge to kill the units blocking them. Nice thing is, Nyla has Pass, so she can just kind of sneak up behind them and then just kill them. And she's very mobile as a Laguz. Nyla is also what we call the Laguz one of the Laguz Royals of the game, aka like the queen of her tribe. And she is insanely powerful. So, and we're gonna be having some rescue trains gonna happen here. So yeah, we have like 3 units carrying someone. Imagine Nyla carrying a giant guy in black armor. That's what she's doing right now. skinny wolf carrying a giant black armored guy. So yeah, now Jill can just go through and kill this mage. Yep, the Black Knight has a mount. It's pretty great. So Moram here actually needs to get attacked. He's not at risk of dying, but that's because every time a Laguz gets attacked, untransformed, they get an extra boost for Laguz meter, and that's just enough for Moram to fill up his Laguz meter to transform on this turn. Very important for the turn coming up.
So is there any alternate ways of restoring the Laguz meter?
Olivigrass. There's an item called Olivigrass that restores it by 15 points.
And it takes 30 to actually transform. You can't, like, do it half.
No, you cannot do it halfway.
Okay.
Volog looks like he's about to die, but as long as I don't make a mistake, he's actually fine.
So I've been meaning to ask you this for the longest time, Kirby, because you have been doing Fire Emblem games for several years now. How did you get into the series and into speedrunning it?
I've been speedrunning. This is actually the first game I've speedrun on easy mode. And thanks to Viken, who actually started working on like single segment runs like 4 or 5 years ago or something like that. So this was the first game, and it was quite a challenge to learn it because it was the first time I had to learn such a memory-focused game with a lot of cursing execution. So like this was probably the hardest game for me to learn at the time.
No, but it's your first one, so I
yeah.
imagine your first one is always going to be the most difficult.
Yeah, but like after I like been running more Fire Emblem games, I've just gotten used to like learning how to memorize everything mentally. As for the casually, the first Fire Emblem game I played casually is Blazing Sword, which is a lot of people's first ones because it is the first game released outside of Japan.
Yeah, that was my first as well, though I played it much later, like 2010.
Oh yeah.
Again, the friend I mentioned before, he basically made me sit down and play it.
Oh yeah, this chapter got broken because, yeah. Raphael is OP. Raphael is a Heron. He can refresh all 4 units around him at the same time.
Wait, he can...
Yep, so which is how I got
Up to 4?
Yeah, all up to 4 immediately.
Dear God.
Yeah, which is so. On the first turn, I used him to let both Jill and Nyla move at the same time, and on the last turn, I had him to refresh Jill and Micaiah, so Micaiah can get to the throne within like 10 tiles or whatever. But yeah, that's part 1.
Broken.
Yeah. Like, you actually get 3 different Herons in the game. You can never get more than one simultaneously, for obvious reasons. But they all kind of have their unique, interesting strengths and weaknesses. Like, Raphael sounds like the most OP, which he kind of is. But his downside is that he's the least mobile, and he cannot fly. The other 2 Herons you get can fly. And they can also cancel, meaning they can move again after doing something. Whereas Raphael cannot. So, it's kind of interesting how they balance that out.
And here comes the Harlow.
Har. Har is coming in. He will be joining us soon.
I'm trying to imagine if this game had voice acting, what would be the ideal voice actor for Har?
Well, it technically does have voice acting. So I'm gonna see the CGI
yeah, but let's
cutscenes
say
too,
like
but...
a full voice actor.
Ah, yeah. So this chapter's goal is to survive. If you kill every unit on the map, that actually does not end the chapter early, unfortunately. So you're better off just cuddling in a corner and letting things attack you. Yeah. So everything is just gonna kind of surround. Car's unequipped. He's not unequipped. I want to unequip him. Because again, you want to avoid killing stuff when possible.
You know, I wish they took more advantage of this idea of a map that's only to be used for flying units.
That's pretty neat. But like that also means you just can't use any on fire. So like it makes sense that they only did it for this chapter because like it's the first chapter of a new team. So they can like restrict making sure you have everything you need to beat it.
No, but I've always wanted to play with the idea of using your area units for, you know, their elevation and how that could work.
Yeah.
It's tough to translate well into a Fire Emblem game because everything is basically like a flat game board, right?
It kind of works in Advanced Wars, but not Advanced Wars is a little different, I guess, because you do have like flying segments in Advanced Wars, but in that game you can just like build flying units as opposed to like having characters you've trained up.
Right.
So it's a bit different. So yeah, we have Neffany and Braum. Neffany is actually like one of the worst characters in the game without transfers. Like, she's actually really bad without transfers. With transfers, she becomes actually usable. Like she's one of those units that benefits the most from transfers. Like with the Steel Great Lance, she actually cannot double much without transfers, but transfers lets her double everything. Even with that though, she actually doesn't end up that great long term because of really mediocre strength growth. So she is actually one of the... Chat will hate me for saying this, but she is like the most overrated unit in this game. Get all the salt ready.
I'm not even in the chat right now, and I hate you.
But yeah, we actually need to waste a few turns because we need to recruit Heather since she's a thief, and we also want her pass skill. And I'm gonna be battle saving because Neffany killing the boss is kind of unreliable. We really want to get a Wrath crit because Neffany starts with Wrath. And this Halberdier was supposed to hit her so she can activate Wrath, but unfortunately she didn't, so... We're gonna see what happens. I think I'll just wait another turn. Okay, we're good. Well, speaking of which, I said she had a mediocre strength growth and she gained strength. I think it's like 35% strength growth, which by this game standards is really bad, because most growths are like around 50 at least, so...
Alright, they clearly wanted you to level, have high stats for Endgame.
It's kind of interesting how they balanced the 3 Halberdiers you get in the game, because Neffany is like the speedy but really weak one, because her defense and strength suck, but... Heron's the opposite, like his speed and skills suck, but he's like really tanky. Okay, actually no, his skill's good, but he's really tanky, but he's really slow. And Donvet is like in between, he's like really balanced. So, it's kind of interesting how they balance that out in this game. Lucia wants to get a crit.
I'm still hoping for the one day they do kind of like a double package of Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn together in an HD compilation.
Oh, that would be neat.
I could see it happening. It makes so much sense in my head. It's just one day.
So one thing to note, we actually have Leanne. We actually had her for some time, but she is another Heron. Her gimmick is that she can refresh 2 units at a time, at all times. But she also flies. So like Raphael, he's always on foot and can't fly, but he can refresh 4 at a time at any time. Leanne is kind of can fly, but she can only refresh 2 at a time. But it doesn't matter; they're all useful. So. And Rayson, who was from Path of Radiance, he can only refresh 1 unit, but when transformed, he has like the most movement and can refresh 4 at a time. So like on paper, Rayson's like the best on paper in long term, but usually Herons are like best used on turn 1 anyways. So this is a little awkward. That Archer's not supposed to be alive. Can't reach him with Mordecai either. Hopefully that doesn't screw anything up. Yeah, the goal in this chapter is to escape, which is basically a Seize chapter. Lucia has to escape. Actually, no, it's arrive. Lucia has to arrive. In easy mode, this chapter's goal is to kill the boss, so this chapter's strat is actually way less convoluted than normal difficulty because you can just kill the boss at 2 range and not have to worry about plowing through and keeping a path open, but that's not quite the case here. Okay, so Lucia is full in HP. Okay. The crit is both good and bad. The crit is good because it saves time in this chapter, but it's also bad at the same time because that means in part 4, later on, she's going to get an extra level up, which wastes 4 or 5 seconds, so it doesn't really matter much in the long run. But yeah. This general is really bulky, like, Mordecai is so slow he can't double these generals, but he's really strong, so he can actually finish off the general. So we need Lucia to actually hit the general like 4 times because she's really weak.
Jeez, what is the general speed?
What is it? 16. Mordecai's speed is 18, transformed, which for Laguz is gonna be pretty slow. So.
Well, Mordecai just looks kind of bulky.
He's like the tanky, bulky tiger.
Yeah. No, I'm just surprised that a general could have freaking 16 strength.
Generals can be pretty speedy in this game.
or speed. Why did I say strength?
So we're actually using quite a different team in this chapter. We're going to be using a lot. We have like a lot of mounted units in this chapter. We did kind of a shopping trip to prep. And we have 4 mounted units: Dunbed and Marcia. Marcia says hi. She cameos from Path of Radiance. She's not going to be used much in this run. And Joffrey and Kieran are like the MVPs because, like, especially Joffrey. Joffrey is just the highest level. He has the best stats out of everyone here, pretty much. Kieran also has really good stats, and he's strong and tanky, and he's not fast, but he's fast enough to double everything. So he's good enough. We're not really going to use anyone else. Because, like, in this chapter, your goal is to get Joffrey to the very top, but, like, you can't do any, like, shove gimmicks or rescue gimmicks or anything because you have to get a mounted unit to the top, and mounted units cannot be rescued or shoved in this game. And you don't have like any Herons or anything either, so the strat's kind of straightforward. Just kind of plow through in the middle and move as far as you can per turn.
So, I've been meaning to ask you, with the transfers, what is the actual rulings on the transfers, and like, it isn't just like, oh, just simply importing your save and everything is going to transfer over exactly the same, or is there variables, that kind of thing?
We have a file prepped that's like a theoretical best possible transfers file on speedrun.com that you can use. So like anyone can use that.
Okay.
Like it's like theoretically possible, meaning you can't get like transfers for all 3 Laguz worlds from Path of Radiance because that's literally impossible, since you can only have 1 from Path of Radiance. But like it's like the theoretical best, so like the math was done. It's kind of like assumes everyone gets a perfect level up, and then you distribute the stat boosters to benefit Radiant on. It's kind of arbitrary, but hey, it's whatever.
I know, it's just one of those cases where you are trying to get the most out of it, you know? Because even for characters like, what's-her-face you were using before, the fact that she had that higher strength made that chapter that much faster.
This chapter is actually really affected by transfers as well. Like Joffrey, if he did not have transfers, he needs to gain like a point of speed and strength from bonus experience to kill the boss. And you don't have much bonus experience at all for that in normal mode, so you have to just rely on him to gain those stats. And it's not a good idea because the speed growth is bad. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm guessing that transfers is the traditional way to run this game.
Yeah,
like,
it's more common. Just
without
because.
trash. Yeah,
it's not
way
a
more
reset
consistent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like the Fire Emblem community, speedrun community as a whole, like values consistency for overall because like Fire Emblem speedruns tend to be very execution heavy for the most part, And, like, all the tiny things you do make a big difference in the long run. So we actually like to make strats as consistent as possible and prioritize that.
Right, otherwise you go from being kind of a speedrun to more of what you would do if you were playing casual anyway.
In a sense, yeah. I am admittedly going like slower than usual because I haven't de-rusted this game as much as I should have. And I'm also talking at the same time, so that distracts me a bit. I forgot the battle save. Shoot. I have cursed. Shh. No one heard that. Yeah, the reason why I'm panicking is because there is a guy in the upper left corner on a horse. You see him on the map right now. He has a horse slayer. And this game has ×3 weapon effectiveness. I think the horse slayer has like 13 mites. So if used on Joffrey and Kieran, it has 39 mites. So he almost one-shots Joffrey, and if he hits Joffrey, he will almost always kill the run. But sometimes he goes after Kieran, which is better, because Kieran is actually tankier than Joffrey, and can take the hit more easily, and weapon triangle disadvantage as well. But
×3, dear God.
Yeah, but it worked out. He went after Kieran instead, and missed anyways, so we're all good.
Does that include for things like Lance Slayers? Or...
Armor Slayers and stuff?
Yeah, like Armor
Yes,
Slayers.
all of those are ×3.
Oh.
Like, the hammer we got, I think it has like 13 or 14 mites. It has triple effectiveness on generals, which is really important in Endgame, because Endgame you have to fight a bazillion generals, which is like 30 defense, that are on +10 defense cover tiles. So they effectively have like over 40 defense or something like that. And the hammer is like one of the only consistent ways to kind of break through that and kill them quickly at the endgame. Yeah, the boss moves, which is actually very nice. I'm gonna battle save again because I'm paranoid about Kieran missing this halberdier. This halberdier carries a droppable speedwing, and I want to transfer that speedwing over to convoy. But if he doesn't drop it in, that's kind of bad. But we got it. And Kieran's using the killer axe, not for the crit rate, which is admittedly nice, but because it's actually the most accurate axe he can use at this point, that's strong enough. So, yeah, and this is the last chapter of part 2. So we're gonna see how this goes. We got this hammer from the previous chapter in the shop, so we're gonna use this on the boss. And recruit Khalil. Again, she is a mage that we use in Path of Radiance, but she's gonna be pretty useful in a chapter coming up in part 3. So, it takes a few seconds to recruit her. Not a big deal.
I gotta step away for a few minutes. Gotta take care of the family. I'll be back in a bit.
Gotta do what you gotta do. So yeah, we have a lot of bonus experience. Enough to get Har almost a promotion, and we're just gonna dump all of it on him. And Har is gonna cap every stat in tier 2 besides luck. And this is both in part because bonus experience is really broken in this game, and also because of transfers. Like, he can still cap almost everything without transfers, with just bonus experience. That's how broken bonus experience is in this game. So. So this is like one of a lot of people's favorite chapters for good reason. The setting is pretty epic. It's cool. It's a defend chapter. It's kind of desperate and stuff, and a lot of units attacking you. But in a defend chapter, you don't want to wait that many turns. It's slow, very slow. So we're gonna do something else instead. Har's kind of in the middle of everything. There is a way to one-turn this map, actually, but it only saves 10 seconds compared to the strat I'm doing. It's a bit less reliable than the 2-turn strat I'm doing here. So, like, personally, I take the more reliable strat into 10-second time loss. But you can just do the 1-turn strat instead. It's less reliable because Har's hit rate with the hammer on the boss is like 80%, and he has to land 2 hits. And with the 1-turn strat, whereas with the 2-turn strat, I think the battle saves just in case. He has like around a 95 hit. And if you miss a single time, that's like GG, because you need every single hammer use. You cannot waste a hammer at all. but that was a lucky level up. A lot of gunk in my classes. It's taking a bit of time to swipe them during these cutscenes. Okay. Okay, part 3. This is the part where you get a lot of really good units and Raffle stomp the game. Then we get Ike's party and his crew. Soren, always lost in your books. What have I said about watching your back? Alright. So we have Ike and Titania. They're both OP. Very OP. Even without transfers, they're ridiculously good, but with transfers, they're even better. Since all of these units come from Path of Radiance, pretty much all of them have transfers, so like that makes them better than usual, which actually makes a big difference. Mist gets a kill. Shoutouts to Mist. So this is one of those chapters where like in Fire Emblem speedruns, even without RNG manipulation, you kind of have like a set route, and like if it goes wrong, you usually either have like a set backup or you just have to reset. This is one of those chapters where it really tests your ability to improvise. Because like in most Fire Emblem chapters, even without RNG manipulation, there isn't really that much improv besides, oh, this happened, time to do a backup or time to reset. The reason why is because this chapter has so many green units, and your goal is to get Scrimir, an uncontrollable green unit, to the upper right corner. And because of that, there is just so much variance that can happen with this chapter that every time you do this chapter is different. Which makes this both an interesting chapter to do, and also really annoying, because you can lose like over a minute if you're just unlucky. My goal is to get a 6th turn, but if Scrimir and the green units don't cooperate, then you can get a 7th turn and lose about a minute. And there's just not much you can do. So the easy mode speedrun of this chapter is actually less consistent than normal mode, because the green units are actually weaker in easy mode. There are like 2 or 3 cats that are lower level and are really weak, and if they go up front in easy mode, they will just start up a traffic jam and waste a lot of time. But in normal mode, they don't exist. So it's kind of interesting how that works out. So 6th turn strat in normal difficulty is actually a lot more consistent than easy mode. And you're kind of weakening the halberdier to increase the chance of a Lagoose killing him quickly. Usually there's going to be a traffic jammer, which is fine for 1 turn. So it's not a big deal. Okay. Yeah, that usually happens. Someone just blocks off the halberdier. I can still get a 6th turn. There is also the chance where, like, if your green units go too fast, that's bad, because they can block you off from killing the boss, which is really, really bad. And it's like almost guaranteed to lose you a turn, so traffic jam here isn't really a bad thing. You kind of want the green units to break through at the right time. Crit. Oh. Okay. So I'm going to weaken these mages here. Weakening a mage kind of guarantees that any Lagoose can finish off the mage with 1 round of combat instead of 2. So, and the mages attack at 2 range, so I'm kind of prioritizing weakening them. Oscar's health is kind of low. That's a little iffy. I might battle save just in case. I don't think he's at a serious risk of dying, but we'll see. So, oh, Gatry missed. I've never seen that happen before. I think I can make it work out. Oscar should finish that guy off. How's this gonna work? Gatry, you stop missing everything. Goodness. Okay, I need to figure out what I can do about this. Mia can finish off the mage. Titania can finish off. Should be able to finish off the general, but she thinks she might get blocked off. I have to think about this a bit. Whatever happened to Beacon? I have no idea. He said he was back and then he kind of disappeared again. So, whatever is going on in his personal life is his business. Okay, so I can finish you off with the steel sword. So what I can do here is give you Steel Great Lance. Short Spear. Use the Steel Lance. Oscar's kind of low on health anyway, so I might just try to not move him up front too far. And then Gatry should go down here. Hopefully finish this guy. Not quite. Okay. Oh shoot, that's not good. Didn't expect to lose vision of that general. That's actually really bad. That's kind of bad. Titania can finish you. Ike, yeah, that's not too bad, too big of a deal. Ike is still close to the top, so this should work out. Weaken that mage. And I don't need to use Sheenan. Okay, no traffic jam for now. I had to improv quite a bit there because I've never seen Gatry miss 2 of those enemies, but I think this should work out, assuming the green units cooperate, so. We shall see what happens. Okay, a green unit dying is actually not too bad, because that means 1 less green unit moves for each turn, so it's kind of a good thing, actually. Yeah, that Swordmaster on the left never moves for whatever reason, and like, you don't, since he never moves, there's no reason to kill him, so you just leave him there. I don't know why. Anyway, yeah, I can be really silly in this game. Ooh, Oscar is in the wrong tile, actually. I don't think he can move far enough to do the take drop. How can I make this work? Well, the green units are doing fine. Yeah, no, they're fine. Question is, can I get Ike far enough on the next turn to kill the boss? Take drop. I can do a take drop. Oscar here, Titania take drop Ike here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That should work. That will work. Yeah, this should work. Barely. Question is, can I'm just gonna leave them. Always tell you how hard it is to notice tile differences. There is an option in this game to blacken up the tile lines to make them much darker, so that makes it actually much more clear. So that's actually kind of a non-issue if you increase that option. Personally, I don't have a problem with it with the default, but I can see why people would say that. So, but yes, there is an option to significantly make them darker, and it makes it actually, you can see clearly the differences of the tiles. Okay, so what Ike needs to do is be able to kill the boss, because he is actually the only unit that can kill the boss in 1 round. Titania does not double him. So, yeah, this should work. Okay, so Titania needs to not miss. 98 displayed hit, thank you. Yeah, I can show you guys right now, grid line option. See, there we go. Oh god, that looks so ugly. I actually want to turn it off now. Oh god. But yeah, Path of Radiance also has the same option. And Screamer is barely within. Yeah, he's in 9 tiles, so this should be a 6 turn. Oh my god, these grid lines are throwing me off so much. I need to lighten that up a bit. Oh my goodness. Alright, so that's a chapter 3P 6 turn. My improv was really slow, but it was still a 6 turn, so what can I do? Alright. And it's one of the longer chapters in a run. Okay. Yeah, I do not like how this looks. This is throwing me off. I'm gonna lighten that up a bit. Okay. So this is a route chapter, so I need to kill every unit on the map, and there's unfortunately no prep, so like advancement where you can like move, reposition units and stuff. So you kind of have to just make do with your current default positioning. Okay, Gatry should have Steel Great Lance. Yes, he does. 22 speed. Okay. I'm gonna battle save just in case. Yeah, this chapter is kind of neat in that you see Shannon have like an actually productive enemy phase because there's a wall there that you can attack at 2 range through, and Shannon's offensive stats are very good, so he can pretty much slaughter anything at 2 range. Just not at 1 range because he's a sniper. Gatry wants speed. He did not get it. Good job, 60% speed growth. But there is a backup for that. Oscar, you need 23 speed to double attack a halberdier in the bottom right corner. But Oscar already has 23 speed, so I can use Oscar instead. It's just a bit slower. So that's the backup for that. Okay. That's not a good level of Titania. Thanks. That's actually kind of bad. Titania needs like pretty much every stat in the long run. I mean, like you can make up for it for the most part, but still, it just kind of sucks when it happens. Counter! Yeah. You really wanted 3 turn this map, because there's a lot of reinforcements that spawn in turn 4 that just kind of just... Oh. Really? That is like around like a 5% chance of happening. That's... really bad, actually.
Well, I'm here now, so you can blame me.
That's really, really bad. I'm gonna lose like around at least 2 minutes just from that. I need to visit this. I'm gonna have Gatry come back so I can start killing off the reinforcements that will spawn here soon. Cool. Yeah, that miss ruined everything, by the way. Like, I'm gonna lose a turn in probably like a few minutes just from that. There's no consistent backup for it. And Titania can very much die, because the boss is actually kind of dangerous. So.
Apparently Ike did something?
Yeah, Ike missed. I think his hit rate's like 95 displayed, so like it was around a 2-1% chance of missing, I think. So. And there's no way for me to actually end this. Actually, I'm better off resetting. I'm gonna lose 3 turns. It's faster just to reset and start over.
That's reset number 3 now?
Yeah, that's reset number 3. I think I'm better off just resetting because I can't finish off those reinforcements. Titania's not strong enough, and one of them has a horse there, and one of them has a hand axe as well. And then after that, there's gonna be a bunch of reinforcements in the bottom left corner. So I'm better off just starting over. Good thing I battle saved.
Yeah. Yeah, but I'm back for the rest of the entirety of the run. Family's fed, cat is petted.
But
it's
at least Titania has another chance of a good level up. So, of course, Gatry doesn't get speed again. Okay, I think I'm just gonna battle save again. Titania dying is not game over, but it's basically a run over, because she's just that important of a character. Soren activated Adept again, that's hilarious.
An axe paladin. That's a very specific job.
Yeah. Wait. Okay, you do have skill points. But she doesn't outright die, but like you can't use her for the rest of the run, so. No, battle saving does not save to RNG in the game. RNG is reset upon resetting. It's funny, because with transfers, Ike actually has skill capped already. His skill is so good, and that chart is, I think, pretty accurate too, so it kind of sucks that he missed. But, eh. What are you gonna do about it?
Laugh. You can laugh at it. That's what I do whenever something dumb like that happens. That's not laughing, that's sighing. Unless that's weird. You're weird like that.
Man, I've never... Marathon luck!
Is that another reset?
Yeah!
Oh my God.
The exact same thing just happened. Oh my goodness.
Four resets.
The force tile only adds plus 10 avoid, which is really why he doesn't have like a 100 hit rate. I think he typically would have 100 hit rate if it weren't for the force tile. But yeah, in this game, force tile is at plus 10 avoid as opposed to like plus 20 from the GPA titles, I think. I don't remember if they give defense in this game. I think they do.
You know, I should apologize ahead of time. I called like 6 resets total.
That's the 4th reset.
We're getting there.
We're getting there. We had 4 resets, 2 more left. Yeah, so like that's really important because that means you get those 2 units to move closer so you can actually kill them with turn 3. Sheenan wants to get a crit. If he doesn't, that's fine. You just have to have Ike kill the boss instead. So this house in the middle gives you a Seraph Robe. Spoiler alert, it's actually Rolf's true mom. You don't want to visit with Rolf or else Rolf's like, who are you? And the mom's like, come back here! I'm your mommy! And then you don't get the Seraph Robe. You have to...
I find it very interesting you can shoot through those walls.
Yeah, because they have holes. So it's kind of a neat little feature.
Yeah.
And it gives good 2-range units like Sheenan a nice role in this chapter. Yeah, this chapter took way longer than it should have. Yeah, so you don't get the Serophobe if you visit that house with Rolf. I don't think you get anything if you visit it with Boyd and Oscar, who are his adopted brothers, I believe, either, because they recognize his mom, and it's like, no, you ditched him, we're not going to talk to you. Something like that. We just got Har back in the team. And we also got Eliana from part 1, so we just got like all the goodies from part 1 that she's supposed to transfer over. But yeah, similarly to Path of Radiance, if a unit hits level 21, they promote. In the Japanese version of the game, to promote a unit from tier 2 to tier 3, you cannot level up to 21. You have to use a Master Crown, which makes the English version significantly faster just because of that. So yeah, we got Celerity and Saber, both from part 1, both very useful skills. We're gonna remove Pass from Heather and give it to Titania, again another useful skill. We're gonna buy a Bronze Axe, the weakest weapon in the game, weakest axe in the game for Har. That's gonna be important later. And then we will buy 15 hand axes and use literally the rest of our money to buy hand axes. Not even kidding. That base was actually pretty decent considering I was talking during that base. This is one of those bases that's really involved, and I slow down if I talk.
Yeah, I wish I knew the game more so I could at least cover for you, but I unfortunately don't.
It's fine.
I know more than anybody. I know especially how difficult it can be to talk while doing a speedrun.
This chapter is a very long chapter. Incredibly long chapter. Yeah. See ya. It's kind of like one of those chapters where the base is really involved and long, but the chapter itself is like, LOL, just cheese it. Nobody moves on turn 1 on that chapter because Har was over like an untraversable tile, and like nobody can reach you unless you're a flyer, which is why only the Wyvern might have moved. So it's kind of a funny cheese chapter. Yeah, so like as I start this chapter coming up, this will be a good time to explain all the setup a lot of the setup I did in the previous chapter. So Har has Celerity and Savior, both skills from part 1. Savior is a skill that is a really expensive skill in terms of skill points, but increases your move by 2, which so basically it's a boots. Very useful. He also has Savior, which has the same function as in Path of Radiance. You can rescue units without a speed or skill penalty. Also very useful. And Titania took Pass, which again lets her move through enemy units, which is actually really important in this chapter. And seeing as this game, axes are really good in this game, and we have Har, who can use axes. Hand axes can attack at 1 to 2 range. Those 15 hand axes we bought, we're going to use all 15 of them throughout part 3. So, yeah.
Huh. Geez, do they really need to take the time to move the dogs or what horses or whatever those?
Yeah, like I think the story purpose is that you're trying to cause as much chaos as possible, and you get bonus experience for each horse that escapes, but it's not much, so it's not really worth caring about. And
okay.
Yeah, I need a horse to not be in this tile in the upper left corner, but there is a backup strat for it that costs like around 10 seconds. So again, backup strats for everything. Yeah. Oh yeah, so this chapter is a really cool chapter in terms of like the objective. The objective of this chapter is to burn all the supplies within the turn limit. And there's like 6 or 7 supplies scattered through the map, and like enemies aren't gonna move until you break open the front gates for the most part. So we didn't break open the front gate. Har is our only flyer at this point, so he's just kind of flying around being a ninja. So I like to call this chapter Ninja Har Gaiden because you know Har is being a ninja. Get it? Ninja Har Gaiden? Ha ha ha, I'm so funny. Not really.
Oh, you mean har har har?
Har har har. Okay. This is where the Bronze Axe is important. Har with 32 strength with the Bronze Axe is barely enough to kill that halberdier. However, it is not strong enough to kill the 2 generals near him. Important, because you don't want to kill these generals, because killing them wastes time. So the only way Har can kill these generals is if he gets activate stun, because bronze weapons cannot crit. And stun is what we call a mastery skill. When a human unit promotes to 3rd tier, they automatically learn their mastery skill. Mastery skill for most classes is basically a you die skill. It's basically a glorified crit. It's like one exception.
No, but we love our overly unnecessary crit kill.
So yeah, that's chapter 3. Chapter 3-4 is a really cool chapter too. So Ronolf is a Laguz that joins us, but he doesn't join us in this base. He joins us after advancement. So we're gonna skip the base first, do our advancement, and then go back to base to do some prep. Because we need to give Ronolf a skill. Coming up. And
I often get
go ahead.
skill stat and skills themselves confused when you mention them.
Oh yeah, no, that makes sense. So I'm dumping a bonus experience into Ike because to help his survivability, because he can't actually die in this chapter, even with his bonus experience. He just capped almost every stat. You think only luck and resistance are not capped? And use some of our remaining bonus experience to promote Titania to 3rd tier.
I like how everybody else, character portrait-wise, really hasn't changed all that much, but Ike, Dear God.
Yeah, Ike's pretty different.
Oh, I can understand why hard doesn't change. I mean, how can you improve upon perfection, right?
Okay. So we're gonna do some skill transferring here. Tatina's gonna take Savior now. And then Renolf is gonna take Pass. Safety save, just in case something goes wrong. Dang it. This turn 1 is so fun to execute quickly and then I mess up. Sad face. Bible thump. Oh,
So
well.
do you play on Wii remote or is this
GameCube
you play
controller.
with Wii? Okay.
So yes, I use the GameCube controller D-pad. It's not that bad. Just practice.
Yeah, to be fair, I'd rather play with the GameCube D-pad than say the Xbox 360 D-pad.
Yeah. It's important to use a game controller because you have so many buttons and there's like a lot of inputs you have to do for cursoring techniques that I never really explained. Yes, there are actual cursoring techniques to go fast in this game. Like I'm actually every time you like see me jump around characters, I'm using like a glitch to move the camera quickly, which I never explained. I'll explain that at a better time. Now's not the best time to do that.
It's one of those things that you passively forget to explain just because you're so used to doing it.
Yeah, I change every time I switch characters. I actually change my grip because you have to press B and X simultaneously on the game controller. So if you know the layout of the game controller, like right now, I just did it again to move to hard quickly. I'm gonna do it again to go to Titania.
Which leads into probably one of my favorite questions whenever I ask, when I'm asking a dumb question about a game that is being speedrun, and that is, what is the most non-obvious thing about this as a speed game that normal people would not?
Yeah, it's the cursing techniques for sure, both in this game and Path of Radiance. This game's a bit more complex with cursing techniques, but the same idea also exists in Path of Radiance. Gwipich touched on it a bit. He mentioned FEP, which is fast enemy phase. So at the end of when I end the turn, almost all the time I'm actually abusing a camera glitch, where basically when you move the camera quickly and end the turn, the game kind of saves how fast the camera moves, and then carries that over into enemy phase. So like, it actually saves several minutes over the course of the run, and you want to do that as much as possible. So it is something that exists in Path of Radiance. It's harder to execute in this game, because you have to actively be moving the cursor to do it, but yeah, which is why like every time you see me end turn, I move the cursor kind of like diagonally to do it. And same idea actually exists with like switching characters, because like you have a unit list, and if you press X on a unit, you will jump to the next unused unit on that unit list. But that's actually really slow. You don't want to do press only X. You want to move the camera quickly while pressing X to jump to the next character, which save like a third of a second each time. But if you press X on an empty tile, you jump to the first unused character. So like what you ideally want to do if you're jumping to the first unused character is do what I call a B switch, which is where you hold B, move the cursor fast, and then press X at the same time. Things like that. It's kind of interesting, huh? I messed up. That is a reset. That was a mistake I made.
Bye!
There goes like 5 minutes. I actually cannot continue.
That's really important.
Yeah, that's really, really bad. I actually just have to reset. There's no backup for that mistake. Oh well. I saved after the base, so. I was actually mixing up easy mode strats for whatever reason. I don't know why. I don't know why. I mixed up easy mode with normal mode. Because in normal mode, Ike needs to kill stuff and Har needs to be unequipped. In easy mode, it's the opposites. And for some reason, I unequipped Ike. And he can't.
It sounds like it'd be something that would be easy to mix up, especially considering how much Fire Emblem you know across how many games.
I run too many games.
Exactly.
Well,
and that isn't even accounting for separate categories for each game.
Yeah. Not gonna lie, it's a little stressful to be running a bid war for Sacred Stones for AGDQ and RPG Limit Break, because I offered a bid war to run Ephraim and Ayuka's route. I actually ran Ayuka's route as a bid war in RPG Limit Break this year, and I mean, like, it's something I'm willing to do, but it's also stressful because I have to pretty much memorize 2 completely different RNG manipulator routes and make sure I don't mix them up, because there are similarities in some chapters between the 2 routes, but different enough to throw me off. So we'll see.
Nobody's gonna say that what you're doing isn't difficult, and if they are, they're wrong.
Yeah, I would definitely say this, like, at least because, I guess I'm biased because this was like my first Fire Emblem speedrun before in Radiant Dawn, but this was like probably one of the games with the steepest learning curves to learn because of the cursing techniques and how much you have to remember. And it's a long game, yeah. So, well, by my standards, it's a long game. I know, like, for a lot of RPG runners, like, 3 hours is nothing, but for me, anything longer than 2 hours is long.
I consider it different enough in terms of how the length of what you're doing as opposed to how long the actual run is. So in the game like Fire Emblem, where you're memorizing all the stuff and you're making all these inputs and you're just tracking all this information, you're doing that much more in that much more time as opposed to a run that's like, say, like, yeah, sure, Bet in Canada is 100% as longest speedrun game ever. But you know what? You're literally doing nothing most of the time because you're just waiting.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how long a game is, it's player input.
Something to note, someone did mention, can't you take notes? I do use notes actually for my speedruns, but my notes only include bases, because those are the things that I need to like take a glance at and be like, okay, I'm doing this base instead. Because for me personally, it's really easy to mix up base strats, since there's no like visual map difference, because all the bases look the same. Like, for me, like, all the map strats I just have memorized, I don't have notes for usually, just because, like, if I have to rely on notes for a map strat, that means I'm not going fast. Usually. So. They're also much more visual, so it's easier for me to just keep track, personally. Yeah, Gwimpage runs games without any notes at all. Which, I'm just like, oh my goodness, Gwimpage, you're crazy.
Yeah. I'm just saying that Bet in Canada is 100% as a good comparison. The point is, this is a really difficult game for him to run at this kind of skill level.
This is the game that like I put in the most time, so like a lot of it is just muscle memory, honestly. Like I just don't think a lot.
Yeah.
So like sometimes that can bite me in the butt. I just do something without thinking.
Any game that you really dedicate yourself to as a speedrun game, you start to get a flow of things, and when you're in a flow, you tend to just be on autopilot.
Yeah. Ooh, nice level up bar.
You know, you can usually tell because, you know, for the most part, a runner will be really comfortable in just going things and just talking, like Kirby's just talking. But other times, it's like, okay, this is serious time. I gotta focus.
It's really just the bases where I can't really talk too much because like there's no real downtime, and I actually have to just think actively for them usually. So
right, because that's your menuing.
Although this base is kind of quick, so it's not too much to worry about. Yeah, so this is kind of another cool defend map. We all know how much we love defend maps. We also got Racing, who is the Heron from Path of Radiance. Useful. Hey boss, bye. Peace out. One-turn strats are fun to do.
Yeah.
That is actually the last chapter of Ike's crew for now. We're going to be doing one chapter with Mikaya's crew, aka we're going to see some Jill.
Yeah, I don't know who this Mikaya is. I thought Jill though. Yeah, I'm stoked to see more Jill. Can we just call it Jill's campaign from now on?
More Jill.
Oh, does the bonus experience carry over from
Ike's team to Mikaya's team? No. They combine when the actual teams join, but That doesn't happen until part 4.
No, I meant like, if the bonus XP you got from Ike chapters, could those be used, the bonus XP, for other characters' parties?
No, not until they rejoin in part 4, which is Endgame.
Is there a cap on bonus XP?
I don't think so. I mean, like, theoretically there would be, because you only gain so much bonus experience in the long run. Okay, so Jill's strength is fantastic, actually. Like, she can gain 0 strength in this chapter, and she'll actually be fine for the rest of the run. Of course, I'd rather she gains strength, but still. Oh yeah, we promoted her to 3rd tier, so we have like another Har running around, except female and faster. And green instead of black. Okay, so we got 2 important items. The Master Crown, which lets you promote a unit, a 2nd tier unit early to a 3rd tier, which we use on Jill just now. And the Brave Axe, which is, again, a brave weapon, which lets you attack twice per attack. So, that priest counterattacked the cat with a crit. I love this game. But yeah, this chapter is a complete slug. It's like an 8-minute long chapter. Yeah. Your goal is to kill like around 40 enemies on the map, and it's kind of a slog. You basically have Jill flying around killing stuff with Sauce helping out. So, This chapter, so you remember chapter 7 and 8 from Path of Radiance, which is like the really long route chapter where you see Grail, and the really long defend chapter after Grail dies. I like to call these 2 chapters kind of a similar analogy, because these 2 chapters are like around 15 minutes long each, this chapter and the next chapter, and they're just boring. One thing to note though, we don't have like any, like, we're not using bonus experience on her Jill's level ups in this chapter, so like we are completely at the mercy of the RNG for Jill's levels. For the most part, she'll be fine. Ideally we're looking for at least 3 stats per level, even if it's not necessarily strength. Just getting a lot of stats in other areas helps in the long run. And Jill's getting a lot of experience because she has Paragon, which doubles experience gain. So Mikai just kind of hides in the corner. Yeah, this looks really dangerous for Micaiah, but the nice thing is that the swamps really limit the Lagoose's movement, so assuming I don't mess up, Lagoose cannot reach Micaiah. She is perfectly safe. Which is good, because she gets killed in 1 hit. Yeah. 3 stats. She gains skill and defense, which are actually her 2 weakest stats. The extra skill and defense actually helps out quite a bit. In fact, if Jill doesn't gain enough defense in the long run, she actually has a significant chance of dying at endgame. So, there's that.
Yeah, we've already had enough of that with your
Yeah.
that whole, hi Marv. Why do you look like a toothpick? Well, all things said, though, we are at the end of the marathon for this event. This is the last game. All in all, I'd say it was pretty good. I wasn't able to catch the first 4 hours of it, but that's because I'm on the West Coast.
Yeah, that makes sense. Bad level, but gotta have one eventually.
But I was glad to see that, for the most part, everybody was able to do their run successfully and have a good time, and we're having a very good turnout.
It's been really fun, like, for a lot of us. I mean, I'm like exhausted as crap because I've been up watching all the runs since I'm like the main organizer, but it's still been a lot of fun, and
yeah, if none of you don't already follow Kirby Master, I definitely recommend it. He has put all the work into this event, to making this work, and to getting every runner back to running Fire Emblem again for this event. Against their will. They had no choice.
Kidnapped runners. I mean, I actually could have added like Shadows of Valencia if I wanted to at the end of the marathon, but given I've been up since 6 a.m. to get this marathon ready, I don't think. And after this game, I probably don't want to do another potentially 2-hour run after that. So.
Nah, we're not gonna hold it against you. And as far as I'm aware, you've done your job.
Yeah, there's not much to talk about at this chapter. Oh, there is one thing to mention. Oh, Soth, he really wants to hit cap strength, which he did in part 1. But on the other hand, in this chapter, having 24 speed is really nice because that's the threshold for double attacking all the yellow cats in this chapter. But unfortunately, he didn't hit that, so there really isn't much you can do about it. And if you're not careful with like healing Soth appropriately, he can die, and him dying is game over. So as long as I don't mess up, he's fine. And right after all the yellow units die, the Lagoos start going after Micaiah, but the Black Knight spawns just in time. And for some reason, Lagoos units tend to just want to kill the Black Knight for whatever reason. So
we're doing no damage. Continue attacking. Eventually, one of us will get a lucky crit. Lucky crit still fails to do damage. Retreat!
Retreat! I actually wanted one yellow unit to survive, so he gives me vision to kill off a Lagoos that's untransformed. Because when a Lagoos is untransformed, they don't attack you. So you want it in chapters where you have to kill a lot of units and or route maps. You want to use up your player phase to target down units that will not attack you in enemy phase, and or that you cannot counter attack. This includes like untransformed Lagoos or priests, healers, units that attack with like longbows, things like that. Because everything else it can just suicide on you in enemy phase, and that's what you want to happen. So.
Dear God, you weren't kidding. 8 minutes.
This is a long chapter.
I'm just trying to imagine this chapter with like casually. With animations on.
Oh goodness. I kind of want to try a mean run for this game where like it's like all animations on. That would make the run like probably like 6-7 hours or something.
Hey, to be fair, I've heard people do cutscene percent runs for certain RPGs, you know?
It sounds kind of fun to do. I mean, it will be kind of a slog at some. Okay, it will be a massive slog in chapters like this, but in some parts it will be kind of cool.
Right, especially since some of these animations are pretty neat.
So ideally, the chapter will end on this turn, which it should, because Soth actually killed everything that he needs to kill. If he leaves like 2 units alive, then I take an extra turn. It's not a big deal. Probably like a 10 to 20 second time loss. Right, this Jill is very good. She's been getting a lot of. She's like almost cap strength actually before speed, which is insane because her strength growth. It's not bad, but her speed growth is like way better. I think it's like 65% speed, 45% strength. So.
I'd look it up, but I can't look up on my computer, because then you guys wouldn't be able to see the stream.
Okay, so.
That's only having one monitor.
I hope you like long chapters that drag on, because this is another chapter. This is a survive chapter! Woo! And you cannot end it early. So what I'm doing here is, I'm trying to snipe off units that move and waste time in the long run. So that's kind of what I'm doing with Har. But trying to ignore other units that won't waste too much time.
Because at this point, you're not even worried about gaining levels.
Yeah, you don't really care about levels at this point. I mean, because like you're not gonna, since Har and Titania are so over leveled that they're not getting much experience in the first place.
Right.
And their current stats are good enough to do what they need to do before you get a crap ton of bonus experience. Yeah. Yeah, someone asked if Ayurka has a legendary weapon. Ayurka actually gets a kill with her legendary weapon in the Sacred Stone speedrun, like at the very end of the run. Same with Ephraim. So, kind of
They
interesting.
get the Fire Emblem Participation Award. Congratulations.
In terms of participation, though, like, I mean, this game can be kind of a drag at times, such as this chapter, but, like, in my opinion, Radiant Dawn is, like, the most interesting speedrun because it's a consistent speedrun, even though, like, you obviously have dominating characters like Heron, Jill, and Titania. This game pretty easily has, like, the most character variety out of all the Fire Emblem speedruns so far. Like, you probably use, like, over 50% of the cast at some point.
Well, they're splitting them all across 3 different kind of plot lines.
Yeah.
Or I see what they were going for here. You know, for when you get far enough into one character, you switch to the other, and you come with a brand new party with that you get to level up from scratch, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a neat idea. It's almost like playing 3 Fire Emblem games in one.
In a sense. Speaking of character variety, we actually just recruited 2 Hawks, Janeth and Oki. They're both going to be used. I say this speaking of character variety because, again, we're using 2 more Hawks, which they're not going to be carrying any chapters, but they're going to be quite helpful later on. They're both Bird Lagoos, and in this game, Bird Lagoos can Kanto, in other words, move again after attacking. They couldn't do that in Path of Radiance. And Janeth and Oki have ridiculously offensive stats. Like, Oki and Janeth have like over 40 attack right now. They're like as strong as they're like stronger than Har, honestly. Almost. A little weaker.
Are a little. I imagine their defenses are fairly low to compensate.
They're bulky enough. Not as bulky as Har, but they're bulky enough. Like they're way faster than Har, so they're dodgier. And Janeth and Oki have an interesting little gimmick where, in terms of the plot, they're both like the right-hand men of Tibarn, who is the Hawk King. Janeth has the eyes, like the hawk eyes, whereas Oki has the hawk ears. So what that means is gameplay-wise is that Janeth gets like has a skill only for him, where he gains like a plus 10 hit rates bonus automatically. Oki's the opposite; he gains like an automatic plus 10 or plus 15 avoid. So it's kind of interesting, and it's actually important for a chapter coming up in your endgame.
Interesting. So when they can move again after attacking, is it the amount they can move? This tiles they can move again is equal to how many move they took leading up to it?
Yeah, like it's just move remaining.
Okay.
So if they move, they have 9 move, I think. So if they move 7 tiles, attack someone, they can move 2 more tiles without taking another action. Yeah, there is a kind of interesting thing in this chapter where you can get kind of a secret ending, but a lot of the requirements are kind of silly. Like you need to transfer an Ike plus Thorn A support from Path of Radiance, and also have Ike talk to the Black Knight without dying in this chapter, and it's kind of silly. But the way to circumvent that is to use a magic card, because that lets you attack without a counterattack, without really doing much damage. So, okay. Har needs to cap strength in this chapter for the strat to work, usually. His strength cap is 38, and his strength growth is like one of his highest growths. Since you gain exactly 3 stats per bonus experience level, your stat up gains are heavily skewed towards your highest growths. So Har pretty much almost always gains strength from bonus experience, which is useful in this case. He typically misses like 1 level out of like 8. But, yeah. And then I'm gonna dump the rest into Titania. It's just helpful. And then here's a bit of a complicated base. One too many hand axes.
How is the money route in this game?
Well, it's pretty tight until the end game.
In which case, the game
You have enough, more than enough for like anything, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Wait, it's +2, yeah, +2, 500. Like, I only have 500 gold left, so it's actually pretty tight through the main game. Ah. My goodness. Wait, what am I supposed to do here? I forgot. Okay, no, yeah, okay. I just mixed up my notes. I should have just trusted my instincts. I actually did a camera glitch there to make the camera move quickly. For this meteors, it stays like 1 second.
Okay. Next time, just make it right.
Yeah, so we have 6 hand axes for Har, and a forged one. Believe it or not, we're gonna use all of those.
Wait, he can hold 6 hand axes?
He can hold 7 items in this game.
That's... wow.
Okay. And this is a pretty big route chapter. And Har's gonna do the majority of the work. Titania, the weakness of Har is, again, you only have 1 of him. So Titania's gonna help clean up after him. So Har needs 38 strength, but that, if you're unlucky, that's actually not enough to kill a general in this chapter. There is a sword general in like turn 3 that Har can occasionally fail to kill because that sword general will randomly gain an extra point of defense. So he'll be left with like 1 HP. You will lose a turn from that. There's no real backup for it, but it's not a significant time loss, fortunately. So, it's not a big deal. I mean, if it happens, it's just like, ugh, why game? Why?
You know, that's the one thing I really like about the people that are into the Fire Emblem series, is everybody can, like, name various characters from across all the entire series and name all the things they love or hate about the character.
Yeah, that's the thing I like about Fire Emblem, even casually. Like, yeah, sure, the games are usually really unbalanced. Okay, they always are. But, like, every playthrough you do, for the most part, is going to be different, and that's kind of what makes it fun.
Yeah.
So.
And it's a good thing, too, because Fire Emblem games are not the longest RPGs, but they're replayable.
They're very much replayable. In fact, Sacred Stones encourages that quite a bit with the extra routes and stuff. So, the only thing I kind of wish they did was they enforced like a fixed growth mode for every game after Path of Radiance, because only Path of Radiance has fixed growths. Just for the option to play with like a consistent growths. Well, okay. Fire Emblem Fates Lunatic kinda does that in a different way, because in Fire Emblem Fates, growths are random and level ups, but... okay, level ups are random, sorry. However, if you play Lunatic difficulty in Fire Emblem Fates, every level for every character is preset, like right when you start the game. So like resetting to get a better level up will not work. Which is both a good and bad thing, I think. More good, I guess, just because you don't... if you get a bad level up, it's just like, oh, well, I can't reset over that, so whatever, I'll just live with it. At least for me, personally, I'm fine with that. So...
it's lunatic mode. If you're playing it because you're wanting a challenge.
Yeah. And like having like consistent level ups, even if they may not always be good, makes it like, okay, so I'm not relying too much on luck in a sense. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's more of a challenge run. But it's still luck if you hit something because your skill is shit.
Yeah. Man, I think it's taking a bit of a beating. Yeah, so Har actually has... this is the first chapter where you can forge hand axes, which is pretty OP. You can... hand axes have, I think, 10 mites? 9 or 10 mites. You can forge them to have 14 mites. For Har, the boss is pretty bulky, so +2 hand axe forge is just enough to kill the boss in 2 hits. Although Har can also just get a crit, it will not matter. But you don't really have enough money to forge extra might on Har, because Titania needs a maximum forge hand axe for a few chapters coming up.
Reminds me, I need to continue my giraffe playthrough of Sacred Stones.
I need to do that too. I haven't done that. Oh no! 10 damage on Har! Help! What will I ever do?
Panic.
Panic, panic, panic.
Now for a guy that just had a giant freaking lava stone thrown at him, he's doing pretty good.
He's also carrying a Heron on his back. So...
at this point, Har should be looking at the Heron going, you have wings, why don't you just fly?
Alright, chapter 3-9. This is a cool, one of my favorite chapters strategically. You actually go back to the part 2 party for a bit, and you have very limited resources. So routing this was a lot of work and pain, but I'm pretty happy with the final product. It's mostly consistent. Only real stealth factor is Kieran needs to get a point of strength, which he almost always will because his strength goes to 60%, and it's one of his best growths. So he's pretty much always going to get it from bonus experience. So you're going to be promoting Joffrey, or rather Gwimpage. Hey Gwimpage, you're going to become OP. Only for this chapter. The layout of this chapter is pretty neat. You have a lot of options to beat this boss chapter quickly because the goal is to kill the boss, and there are strats to kill this chapter, save like a minute or two, but you have to rely on like really like trying to get like a meteor crit, which is like a less than 10% chance for stuff like that, which is ew.
Oh, I love 10% chances to actually save time or lose everything.
Yeah. Okay, so Khalil we recruited a while ago, and this is the only chapter we're going to use her on. Her only role is to meteor that guy up there. The reason why is because that soldier up at the top, by the last turn, he's actually going to block the way to the boss, which completely screws you over. So we want to just kill him off as soon as we can.
Yo, Marcia, doing some work.
Yep, Marcia's going to be doing a little bit of work. That's her only kill in a run, I think.
Hey, she got plenty of star power last game.
Yeah, she can take a break after Path of Radiance. Alright, so there are some ledges on the left side that really makes it valuable to use Donvet or Marcia because, again, mounted units cannot climb up ledges. Joffrey and Kieran have to kind of take the long path around. So, like, this chapter is actually kind of rigged to be against, to not be favorable for mounted units. But the only role Donvet's really going to play here is to kill a Halberdier nearby. That Halberdier has a droppable speed wing, which we really want to have for part 4. Otherwise, like, Donvet just does not have the stats to really take on the boss, unfortunately. So, I actually looked into promoting Donvet a bit. It almost works. He's like 1 or 2 stat points short of killing the boss reliably. The best thing to do is just to use Joffrey, though. Donvet wanted to crit this guy, but he didn't, so... Oh well. Get the speed wing. We've gotten like 3 speed wings in a run. We've only used 1 so far. 1 on Har. One of them will be used on part 4. The other will be used like the second to last chapter in a run.
So when are you gonna continue that all girls run?
Yeah, I deleted I'm just so sad about that deleted file. Man, sad face. Maybe I'll do it for a different Fire Emblem.
Well,
Okay, so the positioning for Kieran and Joffrey is very specific here. Like if anything is off, this entire strat will be ruined because you will just get blocked off. But like this just works out barely perfectly. Like Kieran is barely in range to hit the boss with the hand axe. And Kieran needs a point of strength to bring the boss down to 30 HP because Joffrey will do exactly 30 damage with the Brave Lance. So it barely works out. There's a hidden Spirit Dust which permanently boosts your magic by +2 right behind the boss. So like the only way to get that is to move Marcia over there. It's kind of amusing. I don't know why they did that, but... Alright, so this chapter, I can skip the base if Titania hit 32 strength. Spoiler alert, she usually doesn't. So... Her growths are actually really good, which is both good. I mean, it's generally a good thing, but it's also kind of a bad thing with bonus experience because she has like too many stat growths that are good that it's... She doesn't get strength only reliably in bonus experience. So...
Right,
that's the bad part about having good growths everywhere.
Bad good growth. That just sounds like an oxymoron.
You don't have pass in that chapter. It's impossible to have pass at that point. Because the only way to have pass is through part 1, which there's no unit from part 1 that joins from part 2. And through Heather, which you can't have because no unit from Heather's team goes back to part 2. And yeah, you can't remove skills in part 2. I guess they did that so you can't, like, because like 2 characters in part 2, Joffrey and Astrid both have Paragon, so like I think they realized, oh, if we let you remove skills, you can just like take off Paragon from both of them and then just cheese the rest of the game. So you can't do that until part 3, unfortunately. Otherwise, their Paragon skills will be so useful. Okay.
Game developers getting too smart for their own good.
Yeah. Okay, this is gonna be a bit of a long explanation for a mechanic coming up we never really talked about. Fire Rhythm. It's a dumb mechanic. It's very random in Path of Radiance, and actually like increases or decreases your hit rate by -5 to +5, and avoid as well. We never touched on it too much. It's not too big of a deal in Path of Radiance. In Rain and Dawn, it's both better and worse. It's worse in that there's 5 stages of Fire Rhythm. Worst, bad, neutral, good, and best. And your hit rates and dodge rates can vary between -10 to +10%, which makes a huge difference. But like every character has their own unique cycle of biorhythm that they iterate through, and that is actually not random. That is always set. So if you don't lose or gain any random turns here and there, then it will always be consistent. The reason I bring this up is because I'm going to be using a skill called Bliss off of Racing, because yes, Herons can do more than just let someone move again. And what Bliss does is it brings the target's biorhythm to best in their cycle. And I'm going to use it on Ike. And I've done a lot of trial and error and testing and counting with this, and what this does ultimately is it manipulates Ike's biorhythm to be at best for the very last chapter of the game. Very important, because it makes his hit rates actually decent. And it also brings his biorhythm to bad when you have to kill Ike with Jill in part 3. Which is really good, because Jill's hit rate sucks on Ike. Like, even with Ike's bad biorhythm, Jill's hit rate on Ike is like around 60 to 70%. So like having Ike at bad biorhythm at that fight is really useful and makes it much more reliable.
That's some pretty interesting forethought.
Yeah. Like, so like routing with Bliss is kind of cool, I think, but biorhythm as a whole just sucks.
No, but I find it very interesting from a mechanics point of view, with how it works, because it's a subtle, in-depth thing that you would help. Like, I would probably never know that.
The casual players would never pay attention to it, but it does make a big difference, especially since like it actually affects your skill activation rates as well. Like, your skill activation rate can be -10 to +10% depending on biorhythm. So like in the easy mode speedrun, there is actually a skill to have Marcia kill the. You know the previous chapter where you have to kill the boss. In easy mode, you can cheese it more easily using Marcia by relying on an activation of a skill. But she's so fast, she attacks 4 times, and you have 4 chances of getting a crit, or stun, or adept. And the overall chance of that is like around 80% to kill the boss. But her biorhythm plays a huge part in that, because if you keep Marcia deployed in part 2, her biorhythm is going to be bad for that boss, which decreases like her 80% chance of killing the boss down to like 40 to 50 overall. That makes a huge difference. But if you don't deploy her in a certain chapter, her biorhythm doesn't advance and is manipulated to be at good for that boss. So her skill activation rate actually goes up. And since you're like relying on 4 chances of 2 skills to activate, that adds up and that multiplies up a lot. But we don't rely on Marcia in the normal mode speedrun.
Huh.
So things like that are kind of cool to plan out.
Yeah. I also find it interesting how the biorhythm carries across the chapters, as even when you're you mentioned fighting Ike, which makes me think, wait, biorhythm even accounts for your enemy.
Yeah, it does.
That is, see, that I always love it when RPGs do that, where the game mechanics are not just for you, but for your enemies as well.
Yeah, like enemies can actually have biorhythm. So since we're talking on the biorhythm, there's actually in the last chapter of part 2 where we had Harj like snipe a boss in the massive defense chapter. The reason why the 2-turn strat is more consistent than the 1-turn strat is because on turn 1, Har's biorhythm is lower than the boss's. So his hit rate's like around 80. But in turn 2, the boss's biorhythm goes down and Har's biorhythm goes up, so that improves to around 95%. Which is why the 2-turn strat's more consistent. in that chapter. And it only costs like 10 seconds, so like I'm just like, okay, I'm doing it.
I wonder what the in-game explanation for Bio.
I don't think they ever specifically explain it. I think
it's like it's something like dumb, like midichlorians or something.
It's like a morale thing. I think like how good is this unit feeling and stuff. So I think that's what I understand it. But yeah, this mechanic is only in Path of Radiance and this game, and to be honest, I'm kind of glad it's gone because overall it's just annoying to deal with.
It feels kind of tacked on.
Yeah. Yeah, this game has another mechanic called Authority Stars, but I'll get into that when that's relevant, like more relevant to talk about. Oh yeah, this is the route chapter, by the way. If you couldn't tell by just killing everything. This chapter is interesting to route out because like most of the units in the upper right corner use bows and they don't move, so you have to like plan that, strategize like who you do attack with Har, and then Kanto into a tile such that as many units as possible attack him on enemy face. So they suicide.
They just throw so many enemies at you in this game.
No, this is nothing compared to Part 4. Part 4 is just, oh.
You know, there's a reason why this is 3 hours long.
There's a reason why this is a 3-hour run. Alright, 311. We actually just got a lot of the Cavaliers from Part 2 on our team, and thus, all the bonus experience that we gained from those chapters. So we have a lot of bonus experience now. So we're going to use all of that. We had like 30,000 bonus experience. So we're going to use all of it to cap Ike out, just to round out his stats. And then bring Har to around level 18. Level 18 is kind of arbitrary, but for me it's like a nice... It's like a high enough level such that Har will usually cap everything anyways. But if you try to level him up to 19 or 20, use a lot of extra bonus experience, and that puts a pretty heavy strain on your bonus experience management in the long run. So like level 18 is kind of a nice balance, I guess. And Har just capped every stat besides HP, just FYI. And Har is about to cap every stat in the game. Yep.
Hardy Har Har.
Hardy Har Har.
No, really, he is that hardy.
It's here's one of the coolest things. That's fine. Fast enough. Ike just got Ragnell way earlier than in Path of Radiance, so he's like, even though he's still a tier 2 unit, keep that in mind, Titania and Har are tier 3 units. Ike is like as strong as them now because of the Ragnell.
And it's unbreakable?
It's unbreakable. It's a 1-2 range sword, 18 might I think, plus 5 crit, plus 5 defense. Unbreakable, 1-2 range. Very accurate.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Just might be the best weapon in the game, maybe.
You saw Gwimpage in Path of Radiance use Smite a lot. This is the only use in the speedrun, unfortunately. I kind of wish Smite got more use in the speedrun for this game, but oh well. And we're going to see Janet putting in some work, because we want a secondary flyer to help out with the rescue. And we also got Tanith, who, again, is from Path of Radiance. She's going to play a more significant role in this speedrun than Path of Radiance, although she's pretty important in both games. Tanith's not going to do much in this chapter besides hit a trigger point, but later on she's going to be another MVP, because she's pretty much the best Pegasus Knight in the game in terms of combat. But yeah, there's a trigger point I want to hit as soon as possible, because that makes Tibarn and a few yellow units show up, and then I can also spawn Leanne, who is, again, the Heron from Part 2, which is, again, Herons are useful, they're very important. So Har's going to rescue Ike and dive into this massive ball of enemies. Janet's going to join him, and Leanne is going to let both of them move again. This is our Cease chapter, so my goal is to get Ike to the end. Har's going to keep moving forward, and then Janet's role is to rescue Leanne and get out of there.
You know, you think these opposing armies would start to get very concerned when one guy is literally slaughtering our entire force.
Yeah, I know. This chapter is Notorious again. It's actually the same map, same like geographic map as the one in Path of Radiance, because this is a bridge from into Dane, which is a country. And this chap has pitfalls, which you don't see, but they are set, so you can kind of memorize where they all are. And if you fall into a pitfall, you pretty much much lose your turn. Unless you're a flying unit.
Yeah, ground? What's that?
Yeah, what is that? And yeah, we're using
no,
fire.
It makes perfect sense. The map is essentially the same as in Path of Radiance. I mean,
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
With,
you see quite a few shared maps between Fire Emblem 6 and 7, because like those two games are actually from the same universe. And Fire Emblem 6 takes place several years after Fire Emblem 7.
Right.
So, like,
I should go back and play that actually.
It's
because I like 7. It was fun. I had the most broken Dorcas. It was great. He had like 18 resistance.
18 resistance. Alright.
Max step. He was basically my Har, okay?
Alright, so we have kind of a formation here that we never really explained much in Path of Radiance, but this is a really common formation to use where you have like one unit unequipped and one unit equipped. Because you want to avoid as much combat as possible and like avoid killing stuff when possible. So in this case, Har is unequipped and Ike is equipped. And you need someone equipped to make sure you have a path open to move forward. So like you have a lot of units just kind of balling up around Har, and you don't want to kill them if you can help it because, again, each unit death costs around 2 seconds. So we just got a Horse Slayer, which will be useful later on in Sense. Kill the boss.
So you're gonna fight a dragon with that Horse Slayer is what you're saying.
And this is the last chapter we use Ike before we have to kill Ike with Jill. So I'm actually going to equip an Iron Sword with him, because if he has the Ragnell equipped, he's really powerful, and he gets a +5 defense buff, which you don't want to deal with when trying to beat him with Jill. So, and now we're going to go back to Jill's party. I like how I say Jill's party and not Mikaya's. Okay, so the space strat for this is kind of cool, because we want we need to have we need 3 hand axes and convoy, because we just don't have enough hand axes for the rest of the run at this point. But we also want Toronio to be equipped with a hand axe, and nothing else. So what I'm gonna do is promote Toronio first, because Toronio needs the speed boost from his promotion bonus to double attack everything in this chapter.
Here, Jill, wear these boots. They'll make you run faster as she bounces her.
Oh yeah, Jill got the boots, so she now has 11 move. Yay.
This makes sense.
So I'm gonna buy 10 hand axes and stuff them on Toronio. This automatically equips Toronio with the hand axe and also sends 3 hand axes to convoy. So it's a really fast way to accomplish both of those objectives at once. You do not need all 7 hand axes on Toronio, but it's just fast, and you have the money to work if you do that. So it's very nice. Okay. Let's take this in case. Yeah, putting boots on a dragon makes total sense. Those are some dank shoes. Okay, so going to this chapter.
I'd laugh more if she put the boots on the dragon. That'd be great.
That would be so awesome. Steel axe, iron axe. So this is a chapter where Jill's strength stat is pretty important. You lose quite a bit of time if she doesn't have enough strength, but you need like at least 30 strength, I think. She has 34, which is way higher than usual. So, yeah. You need to kill 40 enemies. That's a lot. Strat is to throw Jill in the middle and watch her kill stuff. You actually one-turn this map with easy mode by just doing this. In normal mode, you need more kills. It just doesn't work. But one thing to note, this is one of the longest enemy phases in the run. This is like a 3 or 4 minute enemy phase, I think. But Jill has to kill so many enemies that she just does not have enough axe uses on one axe to kill all of them. And the worst thing to happen is if you double attack someone, but that weapon breaks after the first attack, meaning you leave them alive. So what I did here is Jill's inventory is currently full, and she has a an iron forge axe equipped. This is gonna be a unit that drops steel pole axe, and the game's gonna be like, hey, your inventory is full. Would you like to send something to convoy? And her second item slot is a fresh steel forge axe. So what I'm gonna do is drop the used iron axe, so she auto-equips the steel forge axe in the middle of enemy phase. So I think this is it right here. Steel pole axe. Iron axe is at 5 uses, drop it, and she now has a 40 use steel axe to take on the rest of the turn.
But she's still hungry.
She's still hungry.
Couldn't think of anything else clever. Sorry.
But yeah, that's the only real thing to talk about in this chapter. This is a good time for me to use the restroom, I'm wondering, but I don't really need to use the restroom too badly.
Dear God, that's a lot of red units.
It is a lot. Fortunately, it's not an outright route chapter. You only have to kill only 40 of them.
Oh, no, just only. Listen, Kirby Master, I don't ask you to do much. Only massacre almost all.
I'll only kill 4 units in this map. Yeah, that's not much at all. Yeah, maybe I will use the restroom. I mean, I don't really need inputs besides like holding A, so I'll be right back.
Alright, I'm hijacking the stream. My time to shine. You won't believe it, guys, but right now, I'm doing something very terrible on the stream. Can you tell? Can you find it? No? Come on, it's so obvious. Oh, animations! This wasn't what I was trying to do, but suddenly we have animations. Actually, I'm wondering why he was playing animations. I'm gonna have to go back and watch that.
Okay.
Is there a particular reason why the game might have done some animations?
Did it?
Yeah.
Oh. Oops. I might have accidentally like held an animation button or something, like on, like just before or something. But yeah, what happens is, this game has a really neat feature where if you have animations off, you can turn it on for a specific round of combat by holding the Z button. And the opposite is true. Like if you have animations on, you can turn off animations for just a specific round of combat by just holding the Z button. And like other games have that too. Like I think Fire Emblem Echo Shadows of Valencia, if you hold L, you can do the same thing. I think. New Mystery of the Emblem has that too.
I'll take your word for it. I still need to play those games.
I normally try not to use the restroom in a 3-hour run, but I've had so much coffee this marathon. I'm surprisingly not that tired.
Dude, you have been going at this all day.
I mean, I'm not super tired. Definitely feeling the exhaustion, but yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, you originally were going to restream this entire marathon yourself.
I think I could have done that, but yeah, it's probably not the best idea to handle that
Yeah,
myself.
and even then, you know, friends don't let friends do 12-hour restream shifts.
Well, we're actually approaching 13 hours now. But yeah.
Well, if you were good at your game.
If I was good at my game, oh. Okay. I'm trying to level up Jill with bonus experience as much as possible because she's approaching the point where she's capping stats. So it's on average she actually just gets better level ups from bonus experience now. 3 stats per level. And we also did an info conversation to have Edward, a character from part 1, get the Tempest Blade, which is a very important weapon later on. The Tempest Blade is actually like one of the most powerful weapons in the game. It's not a legendary weapon, but it's as strong as Ike's Ragnall, and it's a 1-2 range weapon. It's just insanely inaccurate, but it's very useful.
Impossible.
I think it's 18 might. Yeah, it's 18 might. Ragnall's 18 might, I think. I believe.
Yeah, it's 18.
Oh yeah, this chapter is home to the legendary 313 Archer. So for those who don't know about the 313 Archer, this chapter is
Legendary.
Part 3, Chapter 13. And this is a legendary defend chapter. Epic music. Spoiler alert, you can end the chapter early by killing Ike. But there's like this archer, this like yellow unit sniper who like kills like 2 or 3 units with the ballista. And then what he does is he dives into a pit of lagoons and like actually takes one out by himself before dying. And, like, people started memeing about it several years ago on GameFAQs, and like people actually like made these GameFAQs posts of like, "Welcome to the Church of the 313 Archer," and it's so good. Unfortunately, we're not going to see much of him because you want allies to not do anything. It's great. Yeah, the 313 Archer deserves his own character model in Fire Emblem Heroes. Okay. So we have Bolok here. We haven't seen him in a while. His role is to shove this Lagoose. So Jill can just kill Ike. And Ike's, again, I manipulated Ike's biorhythm to be at bad, so Jill actually has an okay-ish hit rate on him. And if Jill's strength is 33, she can kill Ike with 3 hits instead of 4. Although if Jill doesn't kill Ike, it's not the end of the road, because Ike actually moves like second in enemy phase and attacks Jill directly, so it's not too big of a deal if she doesn't kill him. Minor time loss. Excuse me. So, longest space in the run. This is the last chapter of Part 3, and this is all prep for Part 4. So, we're gonna promote Tanith right now. So, be XP up it, because her base stats are really good thanks to transfers, and she's gonna cap a good chunk of stats in Tier 2 before promoting. So, promote her. I want Har to get 1 level of... No, actually, no, I don't need to bonus experience them. Titania needs 34 strength, 29 speed. So I'm going to bonus experience Titania appropriately. Lag. Okay.
Oh, we love lag here.
This game can lag a lot. If this game got released like a Switch VC, that would save several minutes in a run, which would kind of suck. And also be good.
Oh, dude.
Like, this space lags so badly. It's ridiculous.
So if it's got a PC release.
Like, a lot of the pauses I'm doing...
Fire Emblem game.
Yeah. All the pauses I'm doing is mostly lag. That's how bad it is. Like, I just cannot menu very fast because of the lag. Alright, so...
It still looks pretty fast.
Could be faster, but yeah. We're selling all the coins because we are going to forge 10 weapons. One for Tanith. 3 forge hand axes for Har.
Only the best for Har.
Yeah. We want to do all of this at once right now because like our party's gonna, everyone's gonna join in as one party at the next chapter and then split off into 3 again. And you just don't have access to like all forging and the shop and stuff like that with all 3 teams that you split into. So you want to do like as much forging as you can in this chapter.
Right. Let's split up, gang.
Okay, so these 3 hand axes are for Jill. I'm sending them to Convoy for now. Wait, that's, I think, I didn't count that correctly. Is that 3 hand axes? Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Yeah, I really wish the GameCube Wii games got a digital re-release in some fashion, because they are not cheap.
Yeah, especially Path of Radiance. It would be so nice if Path of Radiance got a re-release, but oh well.
Yeah. At the very least, this series isn't like F-Zero GX.
Oh yeah.
In terms of like you're still waiting for that sequel. Fire Emblem's gonna live on for quite a while.
It will. Now. No, I intentionally did not forge hit on 2 hand axes because you just don't need it. So it's a waste of time to forge extra hit. You lose like 1 second. So Titania's last forge hand axis does not have plus hit, which is the one she's using right now because she just doesn't need it.
It's kind of funny. until Awakening, Fire Emblem series was just ready to die off, and now Fire Emblem's so back to being so popular that it was able to get its own dedicated Nintendo Direct.
Oh, that's not good. Can Har reach that? I forgot to Pure Water Har. No, I need to start over. Okay. That's a 6 reset.
That was 6?
Yeah, that was 6.
Damn, I called it! Called it!
Fortunately, I save after that base, because that base is really long, and I do not want to redo that base.
Yeah. But, okay, that was my prediction, was 6, so from here on out, no more resets, Kirby. Got that?
We'll see.
No
I can't guarantee that.
Yes, you can. Promise me. You can do it. I believe it.
Force Slayer. Yeah, I was supposed to Pure Water Harp, because there is again, as you noticed, there's a Sleep Staff user, but which Sleep Staff accuracy depends on the target's resistance, partially. Each point of resistance you have, that increases your Staff Avoid by plus 5%. With the Pure Water, that is a big difference. And if your Staff Avoid is high enough, that Priest will just not bother trying, and you need him to stay in place for the strat to work. The strat for this chapter is really cool. You use so many units to kind of spread them out, and unfortunately, it's also the longest chapter in a run. But yeah, so there's a big blue number in the upper right corner. That number goes up for every death that happens on the map. That includes red units, that includes green units, that includes your own units. And the chapter ends, for story reasons, when that number hits 80. So I'm basically treating this like a route chapter, to kill as many units as I can quickly. So Ike, Titania, Tanith, and Har will be spreading out across the map to just pretty much kill as much as possible quickly. This chapter is actually like you actually finish this chapter in fewer turns on normal difficulty than easy mode, because there's a lot more enemies in normal mode, which means it's easier to get a lot of extra kills because there are more enemies. So kind of interesting to point out. And in easy mode, actually, the kill count's really tight that you save a minute by killing off 3 of your own units. Otherwise, you hit 77 kills, and then you lose like a turn from that. So like Wimpage found a strat to sacrifice your own units in easy mode, but unfortunately, or fortunately, you don't kill anyone off in this chapter. However you want to describe that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, a few chapters ago, I picked up a Horse Slayer that I gave to Tanith, and Tanith's gonna get a lot of mileage out of it, because most of the enemies that Tanith is required to kill in the bottom part of the map are Cavaliers, so she can one-shot pretty much all of them, because she's OP and the Horse Slayer is awesome. For us, at least. Yeah, Marcia plays another role in this chapter. She ferries Ike to help move him quickly. Shoutouts to Marcia. Okay, so.
Hey, promise, Marcia, after this, you're going into retirement.
Yeah, she's not going to be used ever again after this chapter. Well, she shouldn't be. Kill the Sleep Staff jerk.
You kind of just want to send Hard to the mosh pit and let them just aggro all those enemies, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty much what you do in the speedrun here.
Oh, it's just a lot faster to let the enemies all attack you in a turn than
Yeah, that's
you
pretty
attack
much the
them.
idea.
Yeah.
Oh, I did not use the Ragnar with Ike.
Panic. Panic.
What is your hit rate? 15.
Don't reset. Don't reset, Kirby.
Avoid 77. Okay. I could chance this. Yeah, no, I don't really have much of a choice. It's either reset or chance race. Okay. That Cavalier could have attacked and killed Racing, but he attacked a different unit instead. So, I'm not gonna complain about that.
Yay! Good job, Kirby. You didn't make me a liar.
I'm not gonna complain about that. No, the bad thing is that actually kind of messes up the green unit AI. So like, hopefully they don't block me off from a backup strat I may need. Yeah, I actually forgot to do something in base. I was supposed to do a give all in the base to have only Ragnell equipped, but I forgot to do that. So that could have destroyed this chapter. But fortunately, the enemy AI was being stupid in this case. So. Yeah, he was supposed to do a give all, which would have made him auto-equip the Ragnell, so I forgot that. Oh well. Mistake fixed itself.
Maybe the enemy was like, oh, screw this, that's like, I want to take my chance against those guys.
Yeah. I mean, even if he attacked Rayson, he had 2 chances to hit Rayson, and he probably would have had like a, what, 50 hit rate around. Just surprising because Rayson's not that dodgy. Because he's a freaking Heron, but I guess Biorhythm makes a difference there, because he is at best Biorhythm, I think.
How often does the biorhythm change?
It depends on the character's biorhythm cycles. Like some characters, Tanith for example, her biorhythm cycle is like normal best, and then worst. Some characters cannot get best or worst. They can, like I think Marcia's is kind of similar to Tanith, except it's just like neutral, good, bad, instead of best and worst. And then some characters change like every turn. So it's kind of interesting.
Huh.
Like Jill's biorhythm, you cannot rely on it at all because it changes every turn, I think. So.
Okay. I thought biorhythm was like was essentially like very static across everybody. I didn't realize it was that varied.
Yeah, it's varied between different characters, is what I'll say.
Is there any way for you to figure that out?
Not directly besides trial and error. So, I mean, like the Seren's Forest has the data for that, so you can just take a look at that. But through the game itself,
I'm talking like, game.
Yeah, no, there isn't.
Oh, I am one of those people that casually, a game should never ever feel like I have to look up a guide or something to explain a mechanic or something. A game should be able to explain that to me just fine.
Yeah, I agree with that. Ooh, nice, that was lucky. Something needs to do, I think. Yeah. I was lucky. Okay, so Titania just got a hidden rescue staff. Again, the calculation for finding a hidden item is your skill stat plus or minus biorhythm bonus, and then plus 60% if you're a thief. So Titania is typically at best biorhythm on this turn, actually, if you don't lose any turns. So she gets a plus 20% bonus thanks to that. She has like around 25 to 30 skill. So typically speaking, she has around 40 to 50% chance of finding the rescue staff. If she finds it, that saves a good chunk of time. If she does not find it, then I use a backup strat where I use Blitz on Heather to manipulate her biorhythm to be at best. And for Heather, her neutral chance of finding a hidden item is 60% due to being a thief, plus 21% from her skill stat. So that's 81%. And if she's at best biorhythm, that goes up by plus 20%, meaning she is guaranteed to find it. So that's the backup strat if Titania doesn't find it. But it saves quite a bit of time if she does find it. It cuts out like an extra trade and like extra animations. So. Very useful.
I really hope they do something new and different for the next Fire Emblem game that doesn't involve basically pairing your units.
Yeah, they're gonna pair units up, for better or worse. That's just how it is. It sells.
Yeah, but don't make it build your mechanics around that.
We have no time for that. Oh, this should be the last turn of the chapter. Should. Keep her.
61.
Tanith was actually supposed to kill all these Cavaliers, but the positioning just didn't work out very well. It's not the end of the world. She does kind of miss out on some valuable experience because Tanith does need to level up quite a bit to get her stats up to par. Because she's actually going to effectively solo 2 chapters. So. Zyric's just kind of chilling there. He's unequipped. Doesn't really matter too much. You can recruit Jill on this chapter by talking to her with Har. And like just, I mean, for the most part, there's no reason not to, because like, after this chapter is when your party split all joins anyways. So like, yeah. But you're better off talking to Jill for the most part. But you don't in this mode, just because you don't have the turns to do so, because you end the chapter before you have a chance to talk to her.
Yeah. I will never call Fire Emblem games like the best thing ever made, written-wise, or because stories in Fire Emblem games are usually very.
Personally, like I don't care too much about story. I care more about the characters.
Yeah.
Which I think there's a difference.
Yeah, and I agree with that entirely, because the game is built around these chapters where during a chapter you're going to get into a battle no matter what, right? Mm-hmm. So everything plot-wise, the pacing has to lead up into those, so it becomes very predictable.
Right. Part 3 done, man. Oh, that chapter is a slog.
The only way you can. You're done with that chapter. Oh god, it's done. Hooray, it's done.
It's done, and we have more long chapters like that. It's funny because like a lot of casual players who haven't seen the speedrun go like, Part 4, my favorite part's coming at crazy gasm, and it's like actually the biggest slog of the speedrun.
So many enemies.
Should be correct. But yeah, so all your party joins together into one team, and then you just split them into 3 parties again. But you can actually like choose who goes where. So you have 2 chapters for each party you have to do, and so you have 6 chapters before Endgame left, and 5 of these 6 chapters are route chapters. Really big route chapters. So yeah. I hope if you were excited for Part 4, I hope you're ready to see long route chapters. That's what most of these are going to be.
Yeah. But I'm what I would hope they do into the next Fire Emblem game is give opportunities from some other activity other than say just these short little dialogue conversations between chapters and shopping. Like, give me a chance to explore or check out towns or something like that. That would help break up a lot of the predictable pacing that Fire Emblem is known for. That's just how I feel about it, anyways. Give a chance for interesting world building.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have Har on this team. He's gonna kill stuff, but we also have 2 new relevant units. We have Skrimir, who is an idiotic lion from 3P that can make you lose over a minute, and he can still make you lose time because he's a freaking idiot. Unfortunately, he's actually very strong at one-range combat, so we actually kind of rely on him to help out. And we actually need to use a speedwing on him because he starts off relatively slow. But stat boosters on Laguz units are really nice because, again, like, when a Laguz transforms, they double their stats. And when you apply a stat booster, that applies to your untransformed state. So when you give a speedwing to Skrimir, you're effectively giving him +4 speed when transformed.
Oh, so, you got a point there. I never thought about that.
Yeah, stat boosters like have double impact on Laguz. On the other hand, we have that Raven up there named Maysala. He is a Laguz Royal. He is kind of like a Nyla. He is the weakest of the Laguz Royals in terms of raw attack power. But he's also the fastest, and he flies, and he kills everything anyways, which is what matters. So he also helps out. But like, a lot of people talk about how amazing the Laguz Royals are, and they are really amazing. Especially since like Laguz Royals, they do not need a Laguz gauge. They have the ability to just transform whenever they want, because they're OP. The problem with the Laguz Royals is that these chapters in Part 4 are route fests, and Laguz cannot counterattack at 2 range, which is a huge deal. Which is why like Har is going to be doing the majority of the work here. Naysala and Skrimir are just going to clean up, because they cannot attack at 2 range, so they can only counterattack 1 range units. So Yep. And this turn 1 is actually probably one of the longest enemy phases in the run. It's like another 3-minute enemy phase, I think. So it's long.
Yeah, I can't wait for the next logical step in the Fire Emblem series.
That would be cool.
Going the kind of like what what Final Fantasy series did, where they started meshing fantasy and technology together.
That will be interesting.
More than anything else, I want the series to evolve, progress, try things differently. Otherwise, it just gets stale.
The reason why Echo's hit rates kind of seem like they suck is because Fire Emblem Echo's hit rates actually don't lie. Like, that's true hit. Because, like, something we haven't mentioned in a while is that basically every Fire Emblem game starting from Fire Emblem 6, the Game Boy Advance ones, all the way up to Awakening, lie to you about hit rates. The game displays a hit rate, like, let's say 80%, but what the game actually does is it's not actually an 80% chance to hit. The game rolls 2 numbers and takes their average and then compares it. So what that means is that for numbers that are higher than 50, the actual hit rate's actually higher than what's displayed, and for hit rates lower than 50, the actual hit rate is lower than what's displayed. However, Fates changed this up a bit, and Echoes just outright does not lie to you. It's actually accurate. So, like, you're getting your actual accurate hit rates in Echoes. The game does not lie to you anymore. Fates calculates it differently. Fates is kind of a similar idea, except instead of the direct average of 2 numbers, if the hit rate's above 50%, it is a weighted average between 2 numbers. I think it's like 3/4 times the first number plus 1/4 times the second number. Something like that. But, like, it's still a similar idea. Like, your displayed hit rate, your actual hit rate's a bit higher than your displayed hit rate if it's higher than 50, which favors your units more because your units are generally better than the opposing units.
So what you're saying is I should be upset because the game's lying to me.
They're all lying to you. Ghost is the only Fire Emblem release outside of Japan that does not lie to you about hit rates. So. Okay.
That's interesting to learn about that stuff. Fun facts.
Yeah, I think like all the Fire Emblems before the GBA ones, like actually are true hit. Like they actually are accurate. They don't lie to you. It's the GBA ones that introduced the average mechanic.
Right. I find it so odd that we got into Fire Emblem until 7. There's just so many Fire Emblem games that never came over West. I can kind of understand why some like the Game You Advance today, the memories. Mystery or something like that.
You have to brave sword. Yes, you do. Okay.
Yeah, that came after Shadow Dragon, right?
What, the New Mystery of the Emblem?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Fire Emblem 12. It's basically a direct sequel of Shadow Dragon, for the most part.
Okay, so that makes perfect sense why it didn't come over to the States, because Shadow Dragon sold so badly.
Yeah, it sold really badly, so... Alright, so this is another route chapter, in a fog of war this time. Woohoo! The OP units we have are Ike, Jill, Titania, Nyla, and Janeth. Yes, that's a lot of units, and we actually need like most of them. All of them. So, Nyla, if you don't remember her, she's from part 1. She is the Wolf Queen, and she is of Luguzeril, so she's very OP. Kieran and Makalov are the 2 Cavaliers we just have kind of deployed at the top. They were from part 2. and they actually kind of do one thing on a chapter, and that is to destroy these sandbags, because enemy units will prioritize attacking these sandbags if they are up instead of you, which is bad because you want them to suicide on you. So Kieran is strong enough to kill a sandbag in one hit. You do not double attack sandbags unless you use a brave weapon, which is why Makalov used a brave sword to double attack the sandbag.
Oh, it's similar to like attacking a wall?
Yeah, it's the same idea as attacking a wall. So, oh yeah, Makalov does rescue the green unit just to keep her out of range of everything, and that's the role they play in this chapter. So. But yeah. So Ike is going to be leveling up quite a bit in part 4. We want to look for basically everything. The most important stats, of course, strength, skill, speed for offensive stats. For the chapter that we use Ike after this, which is chapter 4.4, Ike actually needs to be at 36 strength. He's not going to gain enough levels to do that. He has to get that purely from bonus experience. So the more strength he gets from this level, the less bonus experience we have to use. Of course, everything else also helps. Like some important thresholds is he needs to be at 37 speed to double attack what he needs to into endgame, which is cap speed. He wants 25 luck because the Black Knight has 25 crit on Ike, so you kind of want him to not have a crit rate, and luck negates that, etc., things like that.
Hey, you know what? I'll defend Awakening for removing permadeath, but not for making it so that permadeath is an option.
I actually don't mind that casual mode.
Yeah, it's optional. If you want to play classic mode, it's there.
I will say though, like people who play on casual mode, I feel like you have the option, but they also cannot complain about like difficulty of other games, because like casual mode instills a lot of really bad habits. For the most part, like since it's like you mentally know it's okay to die, so you're just gonna play a lot more aggressively and risky naturally, even if you don't think that. So like I think that's something important to note.
But at the same time, it provides accessibility. For
it does. So that's not entirely a bad thing.
Not that like the series, but are terrible. Like this is not a gameplay mode style that they.
This game is really bad for noobs. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
This is a really bad starting Fire Emblem game. As much as I love this game.
Yeah.
Like, so, that's the one thing I will say against it. Like, it just promotes really bad habits that are really bad to have, but it still promotes accessibility. So as long as people understand that, it's fine, which most people don't, so... I guess I'm gonna come off as a bit elitist, but I think Phoenix mode is stupid, though. In Fates. I'm like a complete jerk for saying that. Some people will be like, why? It's an option, and... I don't know, it's just completely unnecessary.
I do think Phoenix mode and Fire Emblem Fates is kind of like taking casual mode to the extreme.
It is. It's just like... it makes sense if you want to play a game for story. Only for story, but... Fire Emblem is not the series for that, in my opinion.
No!
It really isn't. So... Yeah, like, that's just my opinion on it.
To be fair, it is optional, so it is something that I would not recommend. That's all. That's all I can say about it, but it's there, it's an option.
Okay.
I'd rather have it be an option than a requirement.
Oh god, if it was a requirement, that would just be so silly. Okay, Fates especially is not the game for that. In my opinion, which is very subjective, I'm not the fan of Fire Emblem story as a whole, but I think most people generally agree Fates is kind of a really bad game for story in the first place. Some people like story for other Fire Emblem games.
Yeah.
So, that's just how it is.
It's... Fates' story is serviceable. You know? That's all I can say.
Okay. 4-2. Whew. More route chapters. 2 down, 3 to go. Okay. Doing some skill management here, because we have a lot of units that we haven't used in a while. Okay. And Alencia ideally wants 23 strength, 26 speed, or 25 strength, 25 speed. I've never seen her hit like the second threshold, because she usually gets more speed than strength. Although this might be their first time for that. 25, 25? Wow, she got 25, 25. I've never seen that before. Hopefully nothing goes wrong with this. I mean, I've never seen this happen before. My math should work out correctly for this, so this should be fine, but... Famous last words! Famous last words!
Come on, Kirby, trust in yourself. I've said before, 6 presets max. That's it. You've done it. You can finish the game now.
Okay. Another route chapter, but we're using a lot of units that we haven't really seen much. This is like the chapter where Tanith really starts putting in a lot of work. Like, the reason is, Jill and Har are Fire Lords, they're Draco Knights or whatever, they're kind of OP. Problem is, you only have 2 Draco Knights in the game. You don't have 3. So, like, Tanith is like the next best thing, because she has a flyer, she has pretty much the best stats out of the Pegasus Knights in the game, in terms of like growths and base stats. The most reliable, at least. Like, she has a 55% strength growth, I think. Which is really good. Which is the most
anything over 40 is what I consider pretty respectable.
Yeah. Especially for a Pegasus Knight who tend to have lower strength growths.
Yeah, because, you know, they can fly. You hear that, Heart?
Yeah. Alright, so this chapter we're going to be using 4 flyers. I already explained Tanith, she's a Pegasus Knight. She has javelins, so she can attack at 2 range. We have Tibern, who is the Hawk King. He is a Laguz Royal. He has the most movement in the game at 10 move. He flies, he is very powerful. But he doesn't have 2 range. We have Oki, who I explained earlier. He is one of the Hawks. He has High Avoid thanks to his unique skill. He's also very powerful, but he only has 1 range. And we have Alencia, who's a really powerful unit thanks to her weapon, the Amiti, which is basically a really OP Brave Sword. But she can only attack at 1 range with Amiti. So really, like, a lot of the routing for this chapter comes down to, like, how can I space out my other flyers to pretty much take out, like, the 2 range units without Tanith, when Tanith's, like, not nearby. Because Tanith's the only character who has really reliable 1 and 2 range. Okay. I mean, Alencia can get 2 range with, like, the ranged swords, but it's better suited for Tanith. Okay. And unfortunately, a lot of units, like, in the bottom area aren't most of them are, like, 1 range units, so Alencia and Oki can do the job flying. The problem with this chapter is that there are crossbows in this chapter. Crossbows I haven't talked about too much, but they're a really cool way of, like, making archers more useful, I think. Like, I like the idea behind them a lot. What they do is they completely ignore the user strength stat and they have a set might. So they have, like, a perfectly set might that you cannot increase. So, but you can attack at 1 range. Like, it's a 1 range option for archers. So that's kind of neat. You sacrifice, like, power for 1 to 2 range.
You sacrifice your range for power.
Well, you know, you have 1 to 2 range. Both.
Oh, never.
Yeah. The thing is, crossbows have, like, typically have very high might because, like, they ignore your strength stat. So for them to be useful, they need, like, at least 30 might or something. And weapon effectiveness in this game is ×3. So crossbows have, like, at least 90 might on every unit I'm using here. Meaning Tanith and Alencia will get killed in 1 hit. Tibarn and Oki will barely survive a crossbow hit. And crossbows are very accurate, so dodge tanking them is not the best idea. There aren't that many crossbows. In fact, this chapter is actually more reliable in normal mode than the easy mode, because in easy mode there's, like, 2 extra crossbow users. Normal mode there's only, like, 2 relevant ones. And it's actually in normal mode, if Oki dies to a crossbow, it's actually okay because you don't need him anymore. Whereas in easy mode, he cannot die. So this chapter is way more reliable in normal difficulty than easy difficulty. It's kind of funny how that works out. Oops. Oh yeah, again, Draco Knights are not weak to crossbows. Because, you know...
Yeah, because that's a thing.
Yeah, that's a thing.
Oh, that lightning weakness? Lightning.
Yeah. Okay, so this is a crossbow guy. He has a very low hit rate on Oki. Because Oki has Vigilance, which gives him a plus 20 avoid. Unfortunately, he actually got hit. Cool. I think it was like a 15 displayed hit, so it's like a less than 10% chance of getting hit. I've never actually seen him get hit until now, so... On paper, it should be fine if he dies. I'm battle saving just in case, but it should be fine if he dies.
Don't. Come on, game. Don't
I
make
hope
me
he
a
doesn't.
liar.
He can die if everything else hits him. Rare, because his dodge rate is insane, thanks to Vigilance, but... Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I love high-risk gambles.
The only other risk in this chapter is that there is a crossbow that Tiburn can die to. And keep in mind, Tiburn has like 60 over 60 HP. He's very tanky, and he can still die. Because the crossbow does like 40 to 50 damage to him, and actually has a crit rate on him. And obviously, if he gets crit, he dies. So, there is a 1.5% chance of Tiburn dying to the crossbow on the last turn. If he attacks first. It's a really low chance because, like, if Tiburn attacks first, he has to not crit, he has to not activate Tear, which is his mastery skill. And the crossbow guy actually has to hit Tiburn, which is like a less than, like, a 10% chance or something. Tiburn has a skill that has around 50% chance of activating that negates all damage. So that's another half. And it has to be like a 10% crit on top of that. So all of that combined is like a 1.5% chance of happening. So, yeah. I haven't seen it happen in a run. I've seen it happen in practice. Like, way more often than it should. Hopefully it doesn't happen here. So we shall see. But yeah, Tanith wants 31 strength to be able to one-round KO everything with the Tempest Blade. Again, Tempest Blade is a weapon we got all the way, like, in like late part 3 with Edward, that Tanith is using now. We actually use a different sword to raise her sword rank. Because the Tempest Blade is a S-rank sword, and she cannot use it immediately. She needs to raise her sword rank to use it. And it works out nicely because the Tempest Blade has like 50 or 55 hit, which is terrible in this game. So it's very unreliable. But Tiburn, your leader of every chapter, in this case Tiburn, has something we call Authority Stars. And I believe Tiburn has 5 Authority Stars, and for each Authority Star you have in the game, every unit on your team gets a +5 hit and avoid bonus. So that is +25 hit and avoid. Which really makes up for the inaccuracy of the Tempest Blade.
This is a route mission, isn't it?
This is a route mission, so that's why it's long. Again, this is the third of 5 route missions in a row. Okay, 1.5% chance? Okay. He didn't crit. He didn't crit. That's what matters. Yeah, I think I'll use a Tempest Blade. I have 3 uses left. And then he should die. Tiburn has 4 stars? Yeah, you're right, 4 stars. Okay. Plus 20
Are you
hit
dropping
and avoid.
frames?
Oh yeah, I am dropping frames. I don't know what... I think it's just fixed itself. I don't know if there's much I can do about that. Yeah, I think it just fixed itself.
Okay. Yeah, it looks a lot better now.
Yeah.
I was for a sec. I'm just looking at my screen. I'm like, it's not on my end. Is
Yeah,
it?
I think it was just a flub.
Okay.
Okay, we deploy Lucia for one reason, to kill that single warrior. Okay. Yeah, TR, you missed 2 resets from Ike missing like a 95 displayed hit rate in part 3. Twice in our single run. This run has been an adventure with respect to luck. Oh man, okay.
It's a good way to go out tonight.
Yeah. Okay, so Naysala actually needs to hit 19 strength by the end of the run, but since he needs to hit it anyways, we might as well just try to have him hit 18 strength now because it's helpful for this chapter. So. This is the obligatory massive defense desert chapter. Woohoo. Except flyers and Lagoos don't suffer any movement penalties in the desert. So, surprise! The 3 OP units we use are 2 Lagoos and Har.
Hi, Har.
Hi, Har. There are a lot of hidden items in the desert, but you don't need any of them. So hard.
Becca here, I want to ask him about sand again.
Oh, I don't like sand. So coarse and rough.
Gets everywhere.
Okay, so I'm actually doing a little bit of a setup because unfortunate thing is Har, Skrimir, and Naesal are only 3 units. You can only spread them across so much, and there's quite a few units near our starting position that are going to get close to us, and we just don't have enough units to kill them off without wasting up turns. So Soth, we haven't seen him in a while. He actually got a promotion earlier, and he's still really bad because his class is terrible. And his class is so bad that his mastery skill for his class is called Bane, and mastery skills for a 3rd tier unit is basically a you die skill. Bane is the exception. What it does is it reduces the target HP to 1. It sounds good until you realize that mastery skills are basically a you die, and it can act. I don't remember it happening, but a lot of people have claimed that it can activate if you would have otherwise killed the enemy. So, if that is true, Bane is terrible. It still is the worst master skill in the game, but still.
I mean, why drop him the 1 when you can just drop him the 0?
Yeah. Okay. We also, if you like Sanaki, she's actually gonna get like 2 kills on this map. Ileana, who was all the way back in part 1, we forged a Thunder Tome for her like in the first 10 minutes of the run. That Thunder Tome we just gave to Sanaki now, and that's gonna be useful because Wyvern Riders are weak to Thunder, and this Thunder Tome is just enough to one-shot this Wyvern Lord with Sanaki. Yay. So that's very nice. Okay. This warrior can hit Naesal and crit him.
Here we go.
I was about to say it's so rare that it's not really an issue, but of course it happens right now.
Golf clap.
Oh my god. This run is such a meme run, oh my goodness. Oh my god. I can't stop laughing. The timing of that was so good. I just had to say that. I just had to say that.
GG, what? You can stop playing now.
You know, the game won. The run's over. The game just beat me. Okay. Golf claps. Okay, I actually hope that didn't kill any ears. Think about that.
Who said that? What now? I just heard a loud sound of clapping thunder, and now I can't hear anything.
It's not really a risk of Naesala dying. I was battle save just in case that Swordmaster also hit him and crit him. Naesala's actually not that bulky. If he survives this chapter, we're fine, because he has a free player base to just heal with an elixir. So. Okay. I can't concentrate after that, oh my goodness. Yeah, I think people will generally have pretty mixed opinions on Echoes, for good reason, because it's like a solid remake of an outdated game with some very, very interesting, to be nice, mechanics and map design. So, like, I like it a lot personally, primarily from just like the theming and the personality of the game. I like it a lot from that perspective, but it definitely has a lot of issues.
It might be one of those cases where you're still getting a really deep Fire Emblem.
Yeah, like, I mean, people will have mixed opinions on it. All in all, it's definitely very different, and it's definitely kind of a controversial game for understandable reasons. So,
yeah.
Like, I can completely understand people hating on it. I also understand people hating, like, loving it to death. So,
yeah.
For
me, I cannot call a game bad without it having some really good reasons for it just being broken or unplayable or something like that. Because even like a lot of people's like most hated games are often games that are objectively good games. They just do something that they can't stand.
Oh my goodness, I am actually getting tired now. Where's my coffee? Well, maybe I shouldn't drink coffee at this time.
You got 20 minutes left to the run?
We have one more long route chapter after this. Well, technically two, but the last route chapter is so epic I don't count it because it's epic and actually it's really, really fun. So. I think one sip of coffee will be okay. This is unlucky. Sometimes those Wyvern Lords will roll higher HP and defense that the 18 strength Nexala will not one-round them. It's not the end of the world, because they will just kill themselves the next turn anyways. Minor time loss. I could bonus experience Nexala up to level 19. The problem with that is that, again, it puts a strain on my bonus experience management for endgame. And like Nexala really needs 19 strength, but it's best to just like save some bonus experience for like the very end game where you actually get a lot on like the last 2 or 3 chapters. So. I'm trying to like not say too much about my own opinions in this stream, just because this is a marathon run and it's gonna be. I plan on putting these VODs up online, and I don't want to try to say too many things controversial.
Everybody has an opinion.
Everyone does.
Yeah, it's just don't force your opinions on everyone else. That's when I find it.
It just makes me a little uncomfortable to do it in like a marathon setting, personally.
Yeah.
So.
I can understand that. More than anything else here, we are here to celebrate Fire Emblem as a whole, because whether or not your favorite game is Fire Emblem Faith, Awakening, 7, or even even the original on the NES, we're celebrating all Fire Emblem.
Yes, and unfortunately, I mean, like first 5 games don't really have speedruns, and we don't have enough active runners to really represent a lot more games than what's on the schedule. Especially since like there's like 2 or 3 runners that actually just outright relearn the game just for this marathon. So again, shout outs to them for that. But yeah, this has been a lot of fun. I'm really hoping that we can do this again next year with a bit more with like more games. Wow, Nexala hit 19 strength with a normal level up. That's really nice.
Well, I'm always around if you need somebody to help restream.
But yeah, it's gonna be a year off, probably around the same time. We will see what happens. And like what people are actively running or not.
Yeah, but if you want to see some more interesting Fire Emblem, you guys can look forward to Kirby Master at JDQ coming up.
Shameless advertisement, I am speedrunning Sacred Stones at AGDQ.
Not so shameless. He actually has to work very hard to get at that game.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bit war between Ephraim's route and Irika's route. Ephraim route is what DX Steve actually just ran in this marathon, and I'm actually hoping that wins, just because I think it's a better marathon watch for like a general audience. It's more broken. I think Irika's route is a better watch personally for like a strategy perspective, which is why I kind of wanted Irika's route to win in RPG Limit Break. I ran Irika's route in RPG Limit Break in 2017, like around May. Wow, it's been 7 months since then. My goodness.
I know.
Oh my god. But yeah, so donate for Ephraim route. Hint, hint. Okay. Last slog chapter. Yay. Okay. So Ike needs 36 strength. He needs 5 points. Ideally, he gets 5 strength points in a row. Which is why we actually gave him a Seraph Rope, so he caps HP really quickly. Because HP is one of his higher growths, and if he caps it quickly, which is capped right now, he starts gaining another set a lot more with bonus experience.
I don't know, do we want to kill Amalia?
I actually was going to plan on offering a bid war, but unfortunately I missed the deadline for offering donation bid wars just because I didn't keep track. I kind of wish they publicized that a bit more, but oh well, it's not the end of the world. That's just life. It is ultimately my fault for missing it, so that's life.
Darn.
Yeah, Ephraim's route is like 2 minutes faster, which in a marathon setting really doesn't matter much.
Nope. Especially in an hour-and-a-half long game.
If it goes well, it's like around 110. Should be like 110.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay, wow, Jill actually capped defense. You don't see that every day in the speedrun.
At least you don't have to worry about her.
Yeah, she should be fine for this chapter. If her defense is like low 30s, then she faces survivability issues in this chapter. Okay.
Hey, that's a far cry from freaking Marv.
Oh god, Marth's defense is just bad. He gained 1 point of defense out of 20 levels, I think. Oh goodness. Okay, Sheenan is very under-leveled at this point, but he's still useful because he can use a crossbow called the Akar, which has strength set might, and is just enough of Titania to finish off these Swordmasters in one hit. Because Titania actually cannot double attack these Swordmasters. They are too fast for her. Now, you can actually bonus experience her to get her speed up to par, but the problem with that is that getting her speed up to the point where she can double these is kind of too unreliable in terms of like wasting like 5 or 6 levels, and you just use up so much bonus experience for that it's just not really worth it. So I decided to just kind of route in using Sheenan to help out. It just makes it more consistent, and on average should be a bit faster because you don't have to dump in bonus experience on Titania to hit 33 speed. So, okay, so we got a rescue staff all the way back in chapter 3E, the chapter with 80 kills, and this is the first time we're gonna use it. And if you need a refresher on what it does, it teleports a faraway unit up to their staff user. And Rice, he is a healer that we have never used at all in the speedrun. He has enough staff rank to use the rescue staff right off the bat. And he has a really high magic stat actually, like around 20-ish. So like, he can use rescue staff from pretty far away. So it's very nice. So there's a chance Jill gets hit by sleep. There's a bishop that, if the bishop rolls a point extra on magic, he will try to put Jill to sleep. If he doesn't roll that extra point of magic, he will not try to put her to sleep. I believe it's around a 15 to 20% chance of getting hit. If he tries to go for it, which he did, but he missed, so we are good for now. But if he rolls lower on magic, then he just doesn't try at all. That's because the formula for his sleep magic, sleep hitting, again, if you want to get into the technical details, it is the difference between user magic target resistance times 5, plus 30, plus user skill, minus 2 times each tile of the distance. In other words, like for each tile of distance farther away, the hit rate goes down by 2. So the technical explanation for that if you want it. Unfortunately,
could you repeat that?
Basically, each point of magic of the user is plus 5 hit. Each point of resistance from the target is minus 5 hit. That's basically the gist we need.
Great.
Yeah. Unfortunately, on turn 2, we still will not kill that guy. You just can't. He's too far away. So we have to face another sleep chance and reset if he hits. No real way around it. And since we're closer to him, he's actually always going to try to put us to sleep. Because, again, his hit rate's higher since we're a bit closer.
I'm actually wondering how many enemies are in this game compared to every other Fire Emblem game.
A lot.
Like, if people actually can count the actual required number of enemy kills in this game and compare it to the required number of kills required in other Fire Emblem games.
Okay, we're using the rescue staff a second time to get Ike closer by 3 tiles. And Pure Water Ike has Sleep's chance. And I'm going to Pure Water Jill again, even though that increases her resistance bonus from 6 to 7. Doesn't sound like much, but again, that boosts her chance of dodging sleep by 5%. And you want every bit. Especially this late in the run. So. Oh yeah, we got Morim, Vika, and Tormod again. They're massively under-leveled and kind of crap. Except Morim is actually still kind of useful because his strength stat and mobility is so high that he still does quite a bit of damage. But that's the only kill he's going to get in this chapter. Okay, that should be everyone I need to move. Okay, here we go. Okay, we are good to go. So, no reset. That should be like the last significant run killer of the run. I mean, there are... Okay, no, there's one more actually in Endgame, but we'll get to that.
I'm open, man.
Yeah. Oh, so I did some weapon management in enemy phase there. So what Jill did is, again, she kills so many units on this chapter that you just don't have enough hand axe uses to kill everything without one without reliably avoiding one breaking in the middle. So I did something similar to part 3, where basically Jill's inventory is full, and she has a second Forge Hand Axe that's fresh equipped. And when the enemy drops a Tempest Blade, the game's like, oh, would you like to send an item to Convoy? And sure. So I sent the used Hand Axe to Convoy, and then she automatically equips the fresh used Hand Axe. No, the fresh Forge Hand Axe automatically, which lets her reliably kill everything in this map. This is actually a semi-recent strat, like 2 or 3 months ago, because if
she sells seashore, seashells on the seashore.
She sells by the seashore. Oh, tongue twisters. It is kind of a backup if Jill leaves someone alive that I found, but like just doing this strat, filling in inventory is just much better and faster. So. Oh yeah, this is a route chapter, the last of the route gauntlet, and every treasure room you see, you still have to kill every unit in the treasure rooms. So, Ike's role is to take out the treasure rooms in the top. And an interesting thing is that most of the generals in this map don't move, so it's kind of interesting to plan out how do you take out all these as many generals as possible in as few turns as possible, because they don't move to you and suicide on you. They will attack you if they can attack you without moving. So, like for example, Nyla here is actually going to move right above this general and drop Raphael up. It's actually perfectly safe because again, these generals do not move. So. And finally, you take out that sleep jerk. Okay, so we're actually going to do something similar here. We're going to fill up Janeth's inventory. That's because Janeth has the rescue staff now, which has 1 use left, and inventories between characters are not shared between teams. However, convoys are. So if we need to find a way to use the rescue staff in this chapter and also send it to convoy at the same time. So then the 3rd team next chapter can use the rescue staff. So Janeth is going to have some dialogue coming up being like, you got a chest key, would you like to send something to convoy? And that's how we'll teleport the rescue. That's very bad. I actually dropped Raphael in the wrong spot. I need to start that over. Ugh, that was a really dumb mistake. But yeah, so that's how you can send the rescue staff to convoy. And I made a dumb mistake. I was supposed to drop Raphael left. I don't know why I dropped him up. And that actually just, I cannot recover from that. So, that wastes a lot of time. A lot of time. I need to face another sleep chance. Okay, we're good.
You basically have to restart that entire fight.
Battle saved on end of turn 2, so it's not that bad. But this turn is also where the bulk of the enemies die, so it's still a lot of time lost, unfortunately.
Yeah. Darn it, Kirby.
Ugh. I don't make these mistakes typically, but I guess it's just me being tired, kicking in, not thinking properly. But,
yeah,
excuses.
Yeah, but you know what?
It's a valid excuse, but it's still an excuse.
Yeah, it's an excuse, but you know what? After a while, when you've been up as long as you have doing what you've been doing, you have every right to make excuses.
Yeah, it is the last run, so like, if I go overestimate, who cares? Okay.
No, the only person that gets kind of upset if you go overestimate is me. I'm the restreamer.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, so, come on, Kirby. Go fast.
I go fast. What is the timer at, anyways, out of curiosity?
3:16.
Oh, goodness. My PB's done by now. Well, yeah, I'm almost definitely going overestimate, but not the end of the world, I guess. So that means that I think... Yeah, at this rate, I think 3 out of 7 runs in this marathon will have gone overestimate a bit. But hey, whatever. It's not the end of the world.
And the GBA Fire Emblems came significantly underestimated.
One of them did. 2 of them, well, I mean, I guess marathon nerfs and stuff. Lagrange and TR did make some mistakes, but hey, it's a GBA Fire Emblem. They're very punishing. It happens. Right. Fire Emblem is just a punishing series to speedrun in general. So, like, going overestimate is not unrealistic.
Well, the stress of Fire Emblem speedrunning boils down to putting all your money on 1 or 2 very specific characters to carry the run. And if you do something that screws up with that, yeah, there's no recovery, you know?
Yeah, it's like that. Fire Emblem is kind of a series where like, a lot of people watch Fire Emblem. I mean, this is kind of a subjective thing in my opinion, but Like, I think a lot of people have a mentality of watching Fire Emblem and wanting to see like a lot of improv and stuff and how players handle like bad luck and stuff. That's actually not quite the case as you think, because like Fire Emblem is like a relatively volatile strategy. I mean, this isn't unique to Fire Emblem, but like strategies in Fire Emblem are like they have to be consistent. Otherwise, like anything is off, you just get completely screwed for the most part. And this applies to both like RNG and non-manipulator runs, as you noticed. A mistake can just make you reset. So like, you either have like a solid backup strat that's already pre-planned, or you just are done. So like, Fire Emblem is kind of a series to speedrun that's just a lot more execution focused and about cursor movement and menuing, as opposed to like the improv that a lot of people would expect.
Yeah, it's also a lot of knowledge to remember across the game.
Yeah, so like,
yeah, just in general, you are having to remember. Dear God, this is like a 3.5 hour long speedrun, right? Across so many maps, different characters, certain units, what they have, what they don't have, what their stats are. There's a lot of things to remember. And this isn't even accounting for like the manipulated runs, where you actually have to remember a very specific movement and turn order.
And cursor movements.
And cursor, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, I will say from experience that the manipulator runs are definitely more difficult to learn and more punishing. But yeah. But like in a sense though, like non-manipulator runs and manipulator runs aren't that different from each other. Just in the terms of like, make a mistake, a lot of times you just have to reset. Not always, but a lot of times you do.
For me, I take it to the equivalent of preparing for an SAT test, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there are multiple quality questions, but ever tried getting every one of those questions right? Nah, not that easy.
Yeah.
You gotta practice.
Well, there is a Fire Emblem speedrun that is all about improv, which is called Fire Emblem Echo Shadows of Valencia, but that is improv for all the wrong reasons. It's like, oh, you missed? Okay, try again. Oh, you missed? Let's try again. Oh, you got a bad level up. Too bad. I actually learned to speedrun for Shadows of Valencia like 2 weeks ago. I like the game a lot. The speedrun is very unreliable for very unfortunately bad reasons, but...
You say such the things in the Discord about that game when you were clouting that. Like, this is bad. Let's try and make it better. Nope, it's... Okay, it's better, but it's still bad.
Oh, I forgot to read out the Oliver dialogue. Dang it. I do that in marathons all the time to voice act his dialogue, because it's hilarious. Because recruiting Oliver is faster than killing him. Oh well, not the end of the world. Okay, that should be everything, and the chapter should end on this turn. Ooh. Almost done.
Finish line is in sight.
Yes. The next chapter is not Endgame technically yet. It is the second chapter of the third team, but it's not a route chapter for once. So.
Not a route chapter?
It's not a route chapter. Put on your smiles. It's not going to be a route chapter.
Hooray!
Hooray.
And there was much rejection.
Like, I generally like the variety of chapters in this game a lot in the speedrunner's perspective until you get to Part 4. But Part 4 Endgame is like one of my favorite like parts of any Fire Emblem speedrun ever. That like, for me, going through the slog of 5 route chapters in a row is just worth it because Endgame is just so fun. And this chapter's fun too. Okay, so yes, there we go. There's some smiles I see in chat. I want to see more of that. Okay. So, Tanith doesn't need Paragon anymore. She will take Pass and Parody. We haven't talked about Parody, which we removed from Lucia a while ago. What Parody does is it ignores pretty much everything that affects your stats outside of like the character, weapon, and stats. So like Terran bonuses, skills, authority stars, things like that are all ignored. Just both a good and bad thing. Oh, nice rescue staff you got there. I wonder if we got that one. So the goal in this chapter is to kill the boss. The boss is surrounded by a bunch of Lagoos. which is why you need paths to go through those lagoons. Alencia is going to be using the rescue staff to warp Tanith up here. Whee! And the boss has a skill called Flare that will kill Tanith. Fortunately, Parity negates that. Which is good, because Parity actually, Tanith actually has shaky hit rates with Parity, because Parity actually negates Authority Stars too, so you get a minus 20 hit rate with Parity. But since we have a Forged Javelin, we can counteract that and have 100 hit. So yeah, there we go. Fast chopper. Cheese.
You know, I needed some a healthy amount of cheese after these matchups.
Yeah. Oh boy. Okay. Endgame. Here we go. This is where the run is like at its peak. All right. So everyone's combined. We choose who to take to the tower, which is Endgame. First, we're gonna get the best axe in the game to Urban. Very important weapon. We're gonna do a lot of skill management here, because we cannot manage the skills anymore before we actually choose which characters to take to the tower, which is Endgame. So Nullify is a skill that negates, it's what it sounds like, it negates effective damage. So like Tanith can take damage from bows and wind magic without any like extra damage. So
none of the 3 times
yep, none of the 3 times nonsense. And in Tanith's role in this the next chapter coming up, she faces a lot of wind magic, which can pretty easily kill her without Nullify. Even with those, her resistance stats are respectable. So we're kind of giving pass to Titania and Ike because they need it. Pretty much all the most of the skill management you saw is purely for this next chapter coming up. So, all right, time to select who to take to the tower. And Tibar needs 20 strength in the long run. And the extra strength helps out in the next chapter coming up as well, because he actually cannot one-round Chaos in generals with 18 strength. So, best to just bonus experience him now. Ike needs 37 strength, 36 speed. He needs 1 point of bonus experience to hit 36 speed. There we go. And then we're going to actually do some supports. We have not supported any units in this entire marathon. This is the first run to do so, the only Fire Emblem run to do so. So Titania and Har will be matched up to give some extra hit and defense. Ike and Raphael will be paired up to give Ike a lot of extra hits. Okay.
Friendship.
Friendship. Woo. Okay. This is like my favorite chapter in the run, even though it is a long route chapter. It's just epic because every unit I brought into the tower, besides like a few force units that are useless, is used in this map to turn it, which is really cool. I mean, yeah, sure, like some units do more work than others, but still, like every unit plays some important role to try and do this in 2 turns.
I hope you guys are enjoying the music right now,
This music's
I
epic.
sure ain't. I don't have it on. I turned off my speakers so I didn't have the sound bleeding over into my mic.
Whew. And so we actually got 2 hammers, I think, through the run, and we're gonna get a lot of mileage out of those hammers in this chapter because there are a lot of generals on this map. A lot. And the generals that are like in the upper left and upper right corners, they're all on cover tiles that give them plus 10 defense bonus, which you just cannot kill them without hammers at all. So, yeah. And again, we have pretty much every Lagoos Royal deployed, along with a lot of the OP units that we've been using throughout the run. Raphael, of course, is the Heron to use. You actually choose one of 3 Herons to take to endgame. Raphael is the best because he is the only one who can vigor 4 units at once on turn 1, which is when it matters. So this priest here has a sleep staff. You want to kill him as soon as possible, so I'm killing him on turn 1 with Har. And Micaiah is actually useful because she gets a Purge Tome earlier, which is a Siege Tome that can attack at 10 range. Her use for it is to give it to Sanaki. That's it. Because Sanaki can use Purge as a backup strat in case someone barely survives on turn 1 or 2.
Thank you for your services, Micaiah.
Yep, thank you,
You're
Micaiah.
no longer required.
Okay, so there's a lot to talk about in this chapter. 3 of the Lagoos that you see there, the wolf and 2 lions, Gifka and Kanegas, they're kind of chilling back here because, again, Lagoos do not have 2 range. And there's a lot of 2 range units near Ike that they cannot counterattack. So Ike wants to handle like as many of the 2 range units as possible in the middle on enemy phase. Which is why he needs Path, so he can just kind of dive in the middle. Tiburn is actually the bird on the right side. He is actually positioned such that all the 2 range mages will attack him at 1 range because like they cannot attack at 2 range since there's a general blocking the way. So they'll all die at 1 range. Candace's role here is to kill the mages on the left side. Titania's role is gonna be going up with the hammer to kill the generals on the upper left corner. So like everyone plays some sort of role in this chapter. Let's talk about supports a bit. Ike and Raphael actually got a support. Raphael has a Heaven affinity. Support bonuses depend on like the affinity of your character. And Heaven gives only hits. Usually, that's seen as one of the least useful support options because, like, in the casually speaking, you don't care too much about hit. But in the case of a speedrun, Ike's hit rate sucks on a few things like in Endgame. So that extra hit really matters. And Ike and Raphael just started a C support, and they gain plus 15 support points per chapter they no. It's, I think it's plus 16. It's plus 16 support points per chapter they join. So they have shared 3 chapters together. That goes up to 48, I think. And then you need 50 support points to hit B rank support, which they will hit B rank on the very last chapter. The thing is, 48 support points is not enough. The nice thing is, Ike shoves Raphael for 1 turn near the end of the game, and that gives them plus 2 support points, which brings that 48 up to 50, which is exactly enough to give them a B support. It just works out perfectly.
Let's be my friend. Okay.
Yeah, so like that's really important because it gives Ike 19 hit, which is just enough for him to reliably hit the auras in the last chapter.
To be fair, Ike's such a meathead that sounds like a way he'd make friends.
Yeah. Right. Okay, so I actually checked the general stats there because Ike can sometimes not kill that general if the general rolls higher stats. If I cannot 2-hit KO that general, I will use Sanaki to weaken that general, which is why I briefly checked the stats there. Okay. Nixala kills this general, or weakens. He actually can't 1-round him without a crit or tear. But you still just want to weaken them because they'll suicide on enemy face. I need to heal Titania, she's about to die. Okay, so this chapter will only be a 2-turn if Titania and Jill land every hammer hit, and they're not very accurate, unfortunately. Which is why, like, a lot of extra skill on Jill really helps. Because, like, if she has bad skill, like, around low 30s, her hit rates on these generals is, like, 80. And she has to land 8 hits in a row. So, that's very unreliable. But with really good skill, that goes up to, like, around mid-90s, which is much better. And Titania, her hit rate's also not that great, which is why I supported her with Har. Because her support with Har gives them plus 5 hit rates. Which bumps Titania's hit rates from, like, 90 to 95-ish. Which, is, again, helps out a lot. Of course, they can miss. It kind of sucks if it happens. But we'll see. We shall see what happens.
Yeah, by watching the stream. What you do. You watch it, and you see what happens.
Jill has killed 2 out of 4 generals, 3 out of 4 generals. 4 out of 4. Okay, now we just need Titania to land 6 hits in a row. Okay. You kind of don't want to rely on supports in the long term, which is why I support it so late, because you see that little support animation there every time they engage combat. So technically speaking, Titania and Har, supporting them loses a bit of time, but it does make the 2-turn more consistent. So personally, I do it because consistency.
Considering how many enemies you fight, yeah, that little animation would add up so much.
Yeah. Okay, we got the 2-turn. If you lose a turn, you have to kill 3 extra priests, so it's like around a 15 to 20 second time loss. Around. It's not that bad. But it's enough to care about, I think. Alright, this is the famous Black Knight fight.
Famous.
Ike's arch nemesis. But before I fight the Black Knights, Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's correct. Oops. I panicked for a second there. Hammer, silver sword. We have one speed ring left. We are going to use it on Kainigus, a Lagoose Royal, because his speed sucks. I can actually still lose the run to Kainigus not hitting 20 speed. That's how bad his speed is. Which it really sucks to lose the run like two chapters from the end because of that. It has happened, so.
The speedrunner's dilemma.
Okay. Kainigus takes parity, and Gifka, the other lion, takes pass. Let's take a safety save just in case. Okay. Black Knight is kind of scary. We're gonna watch the animation here. And you're supposed to use the Ragnall, the legendary sword, but we're just gonna use a hammer instead and go like boop, boop, 23 damage. Boop. It's great. Now, Ike can actually afford to miss once, and he's fine, but if he misses twice, that's probably GG.
Yo, animation.
Yeah, I gotta get the animation. I forgot to turn on animations for a second round, but oh well. Okay. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna safety save, because the run can end. This is like the last run killer coming up. So, Kainigus and Gifka, the two lions, they need to cap strength and speed. And Kainigus only needs 1 point of speed out of 4 level ups. You'd be surprised how often he doesn't land it, because he just sucks. He's at 19 speed, he needs 20 speed. He just capped defense. He just capped strength. He has 2 more chances at speed. Okay, we're good. 20 speed.
Alright, nice.
And Gifka wants, actually he also wants 21 defense. That guarantees him surviving the dragon boss. So, 21 defense. 21 defense, there we go. And Nasala hit 19 strength. This is where I would want to experience Nasala to hit 19 strength. But he's fine, he got it from the natural level up, so that's very nice. Alright. Go into chapters, defeat the boss, just like the Black Knight chapter. Every chapter from here on out is defeat the boss. So, Har and Ike's role is to kill a dragon that's in the way to the boss. Hopefully Har activates a stun or crit. If he doesn't, Ike will finish him off. Good. Okay. And this boss is so bulky. He is just incredibly bulky. Like, you need Tibarn and your 2 lions to take him out, and your lions have like 50 attack, which is ridiculous. This boss also has Ire, which is a skill that triples damage and will basically kill you. But Gifka is on a cover tile, which buffs his defense by 10, and so if Gifka has 21 defense, he can actually survive getting hit by Ire. And Tibarn has Nihil, which negates Ire. Kainigus also has parity, which negates Ire, so there is no chance of this strat going wrong at all. Everything is 100%. Alright, we have another defeat the boss chapter coming up. Gimmick behind this boss, Sephiron, he's a bishop. He is surrounded by 4 auras, and if you try to attack Sephiron directly, the auras will take damage for him. So, but only if they're actually adjacent to him. So what I'm gonna do is kill 2 of the auras and then shove 2 others out of the way. And we're gonna see Kurth, who is normally seen as a really useless, gonna do something. He's gonna shove Tibarn. Yay! That's his only role in the speedrun. And yeah, this chapter is like the Lagoose party, because Lagoose have 9 move, and unlike characters like Har, Titania, they cannot shove, but Lagoose can. Raphael, good to see you. I am glad to see you. Good luck in this battle, friend. Alright, right there, they just hit 50 support points with that shove. So now, next chapter, I can raise their support to B rank. That support makes a difference. That little shove.
Good to see you. Shove.
Shove! Good to see you. Boop! Alright, so Nasala and Isla boop these 2 wisps, tails, whatever. Gifka has pass, so you can just run through and take out the back wisp. Important, because if you attack Sephiron directly to take out the last whip, Sephiron can crit Gifka and kill him. which has happened in one run, so this is just safer. And Kangas is fine, because again, parity negates skills. And that is the second to last chapter. We have one more chapter left. Gimmick in this final boss chapter.
Is in sight.
Yes, the end is in sight. The gimmick is similar to what we just saw. There are 8 auras around Ashera, a goddess, and we need to take out all 8 auras. 4 of these auras are on cover tiles that boost defense by 10. The other 4 are on cover tiles that boost resistance by 10. So they're very bulky. They are extremely dodgy. And they're very fast too. So most of my units actually cannot double them. I want Sonic Key. So the way I'm going to work around this is I have 3 dragons on my team: Enna, Enna, Gareth, and Seer. 2 of them are red dragons, and red dragons have a skill called Blood Tide, which boosts adjacent units' skill and strength by 5. Very important. The Seer is a white dragon. He has White Pool, which boosts your speed by 5. So Ike currently has a +5 strength, +5 skill, +5 speed bonus. And with the support from Raphael, he has around a 95 to 100 hit on this aura. Otherwise, he has like around 80, and missing that is very disastrous. But that is the only reason I had Ike support Raphael to hit that right there. Because it is a complete disaster if Ike misses. So again, Har gets +5 at strength from Blood Tide, and he's going to cancel out of the way. Nyla is also going to get +5 strength from Blood Tide. I'm going to be repeating that a lot. Okay. Barn gets +5 bonus from this dragon, and he's also one of very few units who can double these auras. These auras have like 40 speed, I think, which is ridiculous. Like, Nyla can't double them. She is a wolf, and you would think she'd be able to double them as a wolf, but she can't. Okay. You actually don't want to use parity with Kanegas here, because parity actually cancels Blood Tide, which you don't want to negate. Okay. And Raphael lets everyone move again, including my red dragon, who, again, has Blood Tide. So I'm going to move this red dragon in position to take more advantage of Blood Tide. Jill is going to take the Irvan from Har, the most powerful axe in the game, and weaken this aura. The 4 corner auras are the ones on cover tile, defense cover tiles, which is why they're so bulky and take so much to take out. So like, Tibarn barely finishes off this aura, which is why like all the stat thresholds I mentioned are so important. Okay. Parity negates cover tile bonuses, so Kanegas will just do 40 damage to that one. And Gifka will also finish off this one thanks to Blood Tide, barely. And that's 5 out of 8 auras down on turn 1. There are ways to actually one-turn this chapter, but that requires having like a lot of extra train units and setup. That's just not worth it.
I mean, it's the last fight in the game.
Yeah.
You really want to risk it? Okay, go right ahead.
Unfortunately, in normal mode, this attack's kind of BS in that you don't really have a warning for it. Oh, by the way, this run is not deathless. So
you don't
add that to the count. I think we are like 40 deaths in the marathon. So yeah, Raphael's dead. It's fine. We actually don't need him on the last turn, so it's fine. Like, it's not worth trying to save him because he actually doesn't have a death animation since he quote just retreats. So you don't really lose time from him dying. Like, it's worth just letting him die than trying to rescue him out of the way. So, okay. Okay, more Blood Tide. Again, these 3 auras left are not on defense cover tiles, so I can do a lot more damage to them, and they're a lot easier to take out. Okay. Wait. Oh, Nixala missed once. That's not good. How can I compensate for this? Nixala wasn't supposed to miss. 30 hit. Oh, goodness. 56 hit. Yes! Nasir with the 56 hits. Yes. I don't know what I would have done if that didn't hit. But yeah. Art gets +5 speed, +5 skill, +5 strength from those tides. Nyla gets the same bonus. Weakening Shara. With Gareth, Ike gets +10, +10 strength, +10 skill from bonus here. And time will be coming up. If Ike misses, you lose a lot of time because, I mean, he doubles, but you still finish the run, but you have to watch a long animation if he misses the first hit. Time. Oh my god. I've never seen a run go so horribly in terms of luck, but hey, it happens.
Only for you, Kirby.
It happens.
Yeah, exactly.
What is the time?
But yeah. You really want to know?
Sure, go for it. Lay it on me.
3 hours, 43 minutes.
Overestimate 13 minutes. With so much crap going wrong.
Wait.
I thought my
weren't you
were
also 13 minutes overestimate with with mystery?
Yeah, I think so. Exactly 13 minutes.
Hey, shout out to consistent time loss.
I'm always gonna be over 13 minutes above estimate, you know? Yeah, I think my PB is like 310 or something like that, so still very improvable.
I'll be sure to work around that next marathon I take your game in. I'll just add 13 minutes to the
well, I think if I run this game in a marathon, I'll be a lot more prepared in terms of energy. But yeah. Since this is the last run, I think it's okay to just kind of play through the unit list. Just it's kind of cool to see their unit records. But yeah. This run was a run.
This marathon was a thing.
It was certainly a thing.
Yeah, keyword was, because now it is officially over.
It is over. Woo!
We did it.
This run is very exhausting for me to run, just because it's a 3-hour run. Even if I'm not like tired from organizing a marathon, it's still just exhausting. But
yeah, is it Shadow Dragon time? Let's do it. Let's go.
I could do a Shadow Dragon run, but I don't think I have the energy for that, so I'll pass on that. Yeah. Maybe next year I'll put it in or something.
Yeah. You know, be like, hey guys, this is a great game. It's the best game ever. Love it.
Okay. So we see some unit records. We see a lot of 0 kills. Woohoo! A lot of units that don't do much. But yeah, again, you'll be surprised by how many units contribute in some way to the run. Like even a lot of units with 0 kills, they still did something in the run. Like Gareth was using Blood Tide, Rice was using the Rescue Staff, and so on. So it's kind of insane how much character variety there is in the speedrun. So then we get to the units that got 1 kill. And now 2 kills.
Yeah.
This is the end of the marathon.
Yeah, don't worry guys, I'll pass a word along to Voligen. He'll add 13 minutes to his Fire Emblem run at GDQ.
Okay. Sacred Stones, I'm more practiced at Sacred Stones in this game, to be honest. So, but yeah. Oh yeah, we're getting to the units who actually got like more than 10 kills now. Quite a few. And
yeah. You know what I think is next, Kirby? The most logical thing that's next?
What is it?
A raid target.
A raid target sounds delicious.
We got over 900 people watching.
We got 9, at least according to the dashboard right now, we have 999 units.
Yeah,
Let me look for some targets. To
yeah,
get a raid ready.
Yeah, guys, think of what would be a good raid message, actually.
Yeah. I'm going through my own list of followers. I'm trying to find someone who's like running a what is it? An RPG game or something like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a good Fire Emblem meme.
I do have a few targets in mind. I mean, like, Fire Emblem speedruns are not common, so like we're not gonna find a Fire Emblem stream to raid. That's a speedrun. But there are a good handful of like Final Fantasy streams I see, and a few Pokemon ones too.
Yeah,
Would you raid
we
Final Fantasy or Pokemon? Take your pick. Take your pick.
I personally vote Final Fantasy over Pokemon.
Yeah, I think Final Fantasy kind of fits the RPG imagery crowd a bit better.
Yeah.
That's what I say. Oh, there is a. Ooh, someone's streaming Kingdom Hearts. Ooh, someone who hasn't ran Kingdom Hearts in a while is streaming a Kingdom Hearts speedrun. Ooh. Okay. I'm actually leading towards a certain streamer. Like, Kingdom Hearts is I mean, not similar, but it has Final Fantasy characters, and he's like...
This is a message from Lord Nurgle.
Oh god, this is so good! This is... that is so good! Oh my goodness.
I agree with that one.
That's such a good one, that's such a good one. Oh my goodness. That's such a good one. Okay.
It is the quintessential repeatable meme.
It is. It's so good. Okay. Okay.
All right, take your target. Let's get this.
I got my target up. He is. He's a relatively well-known Kingdom Hearts runner, but he's been like taking a break from speedruns for a while until like I think very recently. So it would be nice to give him a present of this raid message. So. We want to go in as hard as possible. Just go in on this chat as much as you can. He's a really cool guy, so I also recommend following him. But before we set the raid, I do want to thank everyone for watching this marathon. It was a lot of fun to put together. A lot of hilarious, fortunate or unfortunate things that happened. But hey, it's the Fire Emblem marathon. What are you gonna expect? So like, and thanks to all the runners and commentators who helped out as well. This would not have happened if it weren't for them. Especially for the ones who stayed commentating for a lot of runs, especially TR and Gwimpage and Legrand, who commentated multiple runs. And thanks Aussie for helping out with restreaming a lot too. And I don't think Oro's here, but Oro, who is the guy who did the layouts for this marathon as well. So shoutouts to him for putting together all the layouts. They're fantastic. But
alright.
Enough last words. Let's raid.
Yep. Alright, post that link, and I want all of you to follow that link.